October 21st Select Board meeting to order. Tonight it's being broadcast on RCTV on Channel 9 through Xfinity and Channel 31 on Fios. It's also on Zoom and live through RCTV's YouTube channel. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Matt. All right, we will review the agenda first. At 7:05, we'll have public comment. And just a reminder, we're going to limit public comment for now and on any agenda item to 2 minutes. In the room, Jane will keep time, and online, is it Maddie?
It's Maddie.
Maddie will keep time, thank you. 7:15, town manager report. 7:20, community spotlight. 7:25, our fiscal year 26 tax classification preview. 7:55, vote to close special town meeting warrant. 8 o'clock, discussion and potential vote to support the local initiative program application for local action units to be submitted with the Executive Office of the Housing and Livable Communities by BLVD Reading LLC for a lot of land at 258 to 262 Main Street, Reading. Discuss and vote on amendment to Select Board Communication Policy 1.4, addition of social media and cell phone sections. 9 o'clock, review and vote on Finance Committee's request to receive a free review of town financial policies from the Division of Local Services Financial Management Resource Bureau. 9:15, discuss and vote to instruct town manager to explore Friday and Saturday only valet parking license agreement. 9:30, select board liaison report. 9:35, future agenda items. 9:40, approved meeting minutes from the September 9th, September 16th, and October 7th meetings. And 9:45, we'll enter into executive session for purpose 2 and 3 to conduct strategy discussions discussions with respect to collective bargaining and collective bargaining with the facilities union. Hopefully we stay on time. Do we have any public comment here in the room tonight? If you could just state your name and address.
Nancy Dr. Pearl Street.
Is that on?
Yes, no it is, sorry.
Thank you.
Nancy Dr. Pearl Street. My comments are referencing the meeting minutes that you're going to be voting on. Meeting minutes are to reflect an accurate summary of what goes on in the select board meeting. I think it's a disservice not to include Mr. Bocci's remarks. It's a disservice not to acknowledge that he made a public apology. And it's a disservice to the town not to have that in context for Chris's earlier remarks about a code of conduct. So I would like to give Mr. Bocci credit, and I hope the meeting minutes actually reflect that. Thank you.
Hi, folks. Gila Pineski, 3 Harriman Avenue. The town meeting members for Precinct 7 coordinated and scheduled a room in the library for a public meeting. I have this irrational fear of always getting the date wrong. It will happen on Thursday, October 30th from 6:30 to 8:30 in community room A and B. The purpose of the public meeting is for the town meeting members who can attend to engage with the residents of Precinct 7 and hear their feedback, comments, really focusing on the up and coming votes that the town meeting members will be making at the up and coming town meeting. So different articles will be discussed. I'm encouraging all residents of Precinct 7 to attend that meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room have public comment? Anyone online, Maddie?
Not seeing any hands on Zoom.
Great. Matt?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Just a few reminders and announcements. So the downtown trick or treat is coming up on Tuesday, October 28th from 4 to 5:30 in downtown Reading, including Town Hall. It's always a fun event for parents and kids, so we hope for beautiful weather again this year for downtown trick or treat. Also on October 28th, it's our Connected Reading event from 5 to 7 at the library. This is now a community open house. It used to be just for new residents. Now it's for all residents. So we ask people to come out, meet town departments, local nonprofits, schools, and other community organizations. We'll have refreshments there, and I'm told the first 50 residents will receive welcome bags with gifts from local businesses. So it should be a really great event that night. It's going to be a busy couple of weeks, though, because also on the 28th, at 7:30, right after that event is over, the bylaw committee will host another public forum regarding the proposed snow shoveling bylaw that will be discussed at town meeting this year in November. The forum is Zoom only, so you can only view it online and participate online via Zoom, and the link is on the town website. Our Eastern Gateway community meeting is scheduled for Monday, the 27th at 6 p.m., and that's at the Reading Public Library. So you can come and get an update on the project plans and also share your opinion with the advisory committee. Also that night at 7 o'clock, so people can go to both of these if they wish, on Monday the 27th, there'll be a special select board meeting at the High School Performing Arts Center. And this is to hear presentations and to discuss the proposed MBTA turnback track. There'll be public comment, which will be accepted that night, and we're expecting a large turnout, and we encourage residents from the entire town to attend. This meeting is not just for abutters, it's for the entire town, so please make an effort to attend if you can. A quick note on my professional team. We held a professional development team building day for town management staff last week at the library. We had segments on leading a multi-generational team, strengthening team trust, and coach-like leadership. It was an excellent day. I'd like to thank our healthcare company, Maya, for putting that on, and for the group Transformative Leadership Strategies for leading the discussion that day and putting together an excellent training. So I think my team, I got a lot of good feedback. We got a lot out of it. And so we're planning to do it again next year. And then looking ahead briefly to November, I won't cover everything in November, but one thing I wanted to talk about was our Veterans Day ceremony. It will again take place on Veterans Day, November 11th at 11 a.m. at Memorial Park. It's an outside event. So please plan to attend and honor our Reading veterans. Thank you.
Is Ben, you want to do your community spot? Or Jane, do you have anything to add?
I have, no, nothing. He took all my good stuff.
I'm sorry. It always works out that way. Community spotlight? Yeah, so I have two spotlights tonight. I'll start with an employee spotlight. So our public health nurse, Liv Bartolome, started in Reading just about a year ago and really hit the ground running. We had changed up that position, reclassified it so that she had both public health duties and duties at the senior center with our senior population. We weren't sure how that was going to work. I remember discussing it with the select board and saying we're going to try it. It's worked out great thanks to Liv. The transition couldn't have gone more smoothly, and it works very well a year into it. She is now a valuable asset to both departments, and I'm pleased that I received so much positive feedback about the work she's done and the people she's helped. And I have gotten a lot of feedback from people regarding Liv's work. Every time I see her, she literally has her hands full with supplies and things for the flu clinic and the blood pressure clinic and all this helpful information and tick removal kits that she gives to residents, to keep people healthy. So she is really 100% giving it her all to Reading. So I'd like to shine a light on Liv and thank her for her hard work this year and let her know that it does not go unnoticed. And one business spotlight. White Lamb Books in downtown Reading will celebrate its 8th anniversary in early November. I can't believe it's been 8 years already, but it has. They've really become the cultural hub of downtown Reading, hosting book clubs, book signings, poetry readings, and story time for kids. The store also had hosted many community meetings and events for us there, and I really appreciate that. I'm a frequent customer. I was just there last week. to visit with a local author, and the place was packed. It was really standing room only. So congrats to Liz Whitelam and her team at Whitelam Books. We hope for many more successful years, and I could not imagine Reading without you. So thank you.
Quick question for the town manager's report. Is there an ETA on getting a Matera cabin open? We have residents asking.
Maybe that's one Jane could actually.
And if it's gonna come up later, that's fine.
Not tonight, it won't come up later. It's a great question. No, there is no ETA on the Terra cabin reopening. I'll give you a little bit of background. We did a code review to see what we can support in that building, how many people with what we have, and then what needs to be changed. That code review came back with some recommendations. None of them are life-altering. We've sent some questions back to the engineering firm. We've gotten them back, and then we're going to do an internal review probably next week or the week after. The fire chief's not available until the week after next week, and our building commissioner is not available right now. So those are the two most important people to review that. And so then we'll come up with, okay, what do we need to do? And then what is the budget it's going to take to make those changes? Can we make them in-house? Or do we need to hire somebody? Do we need to put in a particular kind of sink? What do we need to do? And so once we have those answers, then we'll be able to present what that budget would be, if we can do it in-house or not. And we'll bring that back to you in terms of either a recommendation or a blessing or whatever. So we'll have a plan, but we have to kind of work that piece out. So it looks good. It won't be closed forever, but I don't know the budget impact yet. So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Carl?
Thanks. Just a clarification. You said engineering firm. Did you mean engineering department?
No.
We're hiring someone for this?
We have an engineering firm on call service. So yes, we paid for a code review. We cannot review ourselves. So we have to send it out, and then they tell us, and we can't review ourselves. You have to have that check and balance. Does that make sense?
Yeah, just want to understand.
So just like we review other architectural plans and so forth, we don't make it up. We have to do it the right way. So
Sure,
this is
heard you right.
short money. Yeah.
Okay.
Chris?
Thanks, Melissa. I just want to touch on what Matt had briefly mentioned about Liv, and just share my own story. I know my wife is here also, who will probably want to speak for less than 2 minutes. But for me, myself, so Amanda got sick, I don't know, a week or two ago at this point. And I ended up having to go in the shower, I shaved, everything. I came back out and she was still on the phone with somebody. And it ended up being Liv, the public health nurse, the entire time, just talking her through all these various things when the whole thing got reported to the state because of what transpired and everything. So it's good to see somebody actively involved in following up, because if not, it would have just gone unnoticed and then we wouldn't have known how it all happened. And so thank you to Liv, and that's all I got.
Do you want to make public comment? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Karen, did you have anything to add in before I ask for public comment? If anyone has public comment. Name, address, and 2 minutes.
Perfect. Amanda Haley, 71 Tennyson. So to piggyback on Matt, as well as my husband, a couple of weeks ago, I became very ill, was hospitalized for 3 days. I knew it was serious. I had a bacterial infection, but I didn't realize that it was reportable to the state until I got a phone call from Liv, probably about 3 o'clock the day before I was planning to go back to work, with the news that you work in healthcare, you're not allowed to go back to work until you have a negative test. So this was shock to me because my employer didn't know, and there's a lot of stuff to do before the close of the day. And she said, don't worry about it. You're dealing with enough. I'm gonna take care of it. She contacted the state epidemiologist. She contacted my occupational health department. She contacted my PCP to get some orders put in, to kind of talk to them about what had been going on. I didn't even know we had our own public health nurse here in Reading, but it's just absolutely incredible. And without her going through my history of where I had been, in 2 days, less than 48 hours, they found the source of the infection and close the establishment down until further notice. So it prevented probably a lot more people getting sick. So kudos to Liv. She's just absolutely incredible. I had no idea what her role was, but she went above and beyond in a time that I really needed it, where I couldn't really do those things myself. Thanks, Liv.
Anyone else have public comment? Good. Victor, it's your turn. Fiscal year 26 classification preview.
Before Victor presents, I'm going to, due to the appearance of a conflict, I'm going to recuse myself from this discussion. I will be back to vote at a later date.
Same for me as Chris. Thanks.
Okay, Maggie.
Sorry to interrupt. We do have a hand raised on Zoom. I'm not sure if it was public comment for the last thing.
I apologize. Maddie, you can let them speak. Sorry, Victor. That's
Sorry,
my
Victor.
fault for not asking.
Okay, it's Angela Binda, so Angela, you can unmute.
Angela, did you have public comment on the town manager report?
I did.
Okay. You have 2 minutes, and just say your name and address, please.
Thank you, Angela Binda, 10 Orchard Park Drive. I was just wondering, it wasn't stated, is there an update on when the Burbank, will the contract will be signed? I saw that there was approval by CPDC. So when is there any date or expectation on when that will be signed? Thank you.
Angela, it's public comment right now. We can get that information to you afterwards if you want to reach out to Jane or Matt. They can get that to you, but we're not going to do that right now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Miss, we'll reach out tomorrow.
Do you need to take a vote to open public session or anything?
Is this a public hearing? It is?
No, the hearing's next time.
This is the preview.
This
Yeah,
is
this
just
is
the
just the
preview, and then
preview.
you're doing the hearing next time.
Sorry. I was going to say, I didn't think so, but
Okay,
we'll make next time quicker, hopefully.
but I have all my numbers.
I know.
There's no need to just go right through it
Right
and
up
take
here.
a vote.
I'm
I
with
gotta
you.
come
I'm
back
with
2
you,
weeks
Victor.
later when I have 2 other classification hearings in other towns, but
Hopefully we can cover it all
we'll
tonight.
work with what we have.
Thank you.
Okay, friends, welcome to fiscal year 2026 classification hearing. If we can go to the next slide, please. There are 4 actions required by the board. First and foremost is the selection of a minimum residential factor. Next is the selection for an open space discount, the granting of a residential exemption, and/or the granting of a small commercial exemption. I'll go through each of these as I get through the presentation. Next, please. Minimum residential factor. Over the past several years, to coincide with our groundbreaking and innovative form of senior tax relief, Reading has adopted a slight split tax rate. But when you calculate an MRF, if you have an MRF of 1, as an assessor, that means you're not shifting anything. You would take the total tax levy, which is a little over $91 million, divided by the total value of all real estate and personal property in the town, which is just under $8.3 billion, and you arrive at a single tax rate, 1102. That would be our rate. Next slide, please. Reading Senior Circuit Breaker credit details. This year, we had 217 seniors apply for the exemption, 203 were approved. The reason why some people aren't approved, they may own property elsewhere which would disqualify them. Some may have things like an irrevocable trust where they have no beneficial interest in the trust, and we can't grant it. The total amount of the circuit breaker received, and the amount will be shifting within the residential rate, is just a little over $416,000. The maximum amount for qualified seniors was $2,730. The lowest one we granted was for $101. The average being just slightly over $2,000. The With this exemption, what would happen is, as I described, the single tax rate would be 1102, but because we do this form of senior tax relief that other taxpayers do pay for, it is shifted within the residential portion of the tax rate. It creates a higher residential tax rate and a lower commercial rate. In this case, the average cost would be about $47 on the average single-family home to help over 200 seniors age in place remain vibrant in our community. I based my analysis on a shift of 1.10, where with this exemption, the anticipated tax rates would be about $11 for residential and $12.12 for commercial. Without the shift, you see the residential rate would be 5 cents higher at $11.07. Next, please. Average single-family value for fiscal '26, $944,000. The table below and on the subsequent pages illustrates at the chosen shift level, the CIP shift level. If you look at 1.10, you'll see a minimum residential factor, those 6 digits after the 0 and decimal point. It shows you the residential share of the tax burden that would result by picking that shift interval, and the anticipated tax rate and tax obligation for fiscal year 2026 of the average single-family home being just under $10,400. Next page, please. This just continues the calculations all the way up to our maximum shift level. Next page, please. Of 1.50. Now we can go on to the next slide. This shows the average single-family tax bill, the changes that have occurred since 2008 up to what we anticipate for fiscal year 2026. The reason I started 2008, I can't fit any more up there. So next year we'll start from 2009. Next page, please. This is an awesome note. I haven't had a note like this in my classification in over a decade. The fiscal 26 debt exclusion amount is 0. This adds 0 to the tax rate, 0 to the average single-family bill, and 0 to the average commercial property. Next slide, please. A lot of people don't understand, as an assessor, we are historians. We rely on a complete and full year of sales to value every stick of real estate in the town. The tax bills you'll see at the end of December were the values you see in there were derived by a review of all sales during calendar year 2024. So when you open that up, a lot of people go, oh, I can get more for my house than that. Or they ask us, how much below market do you assess? I don't know what market is. The market hasn't shown itself yet, you know? So we have a whole year to analyze that. And then we change assessments accordingly, raise what we need to raise, change what we need to change descriptions on homes when properties sell to pick up things like extra bathrooms, things of that nature, because we're not just changing values on the properties that sold. I have to have correct information on those sold properties so I don't mistreat the properties that didn't sell. So everybody's at the same level. But we had more sales in 2024 than we did in 2023. The days on market went from 34 to 26. Interesting thing, the average sale price down a little bit. I don't know why that happened. It was probably due to simply the available housing stock that was prevalent over the period. That's the only conclusion that I come up with that. Next, please. The average commercial property valuation, slightly over $2 million for fiscal 26. And like we did with the residential, for every shift interval from no shift of 1 up to 1.5, you see what the minimum residential factor is, the commercial, industrial, and personal share of the tax levy, the anticipated rates, and the anticipated tax bills. We can go through the next slide. and even the next one. Okay. Median commercial property. The valuation fiscal 26 is almost 888,000. Reading has shown, for my 14 years here, and I've been doing this over 30 years, Reading has shown a sensitivity to the small business owner. And the best way I could show the impact of any tax shift implications that this board may entertain is by keeping an eye on them. These are the small businesses in town, the restaurants we frequent, the shops we go to. And it's also representative if a place is in a much larger building and they have a triple net lease, you know, so they're not paying the entire tax on a building, they're paying their fair share. And this kind of, to me, looks like the people who usually come to this room are small business people, and this is a way to kind of view the impact of any decision that we would make. And you see if we did a shift of 1.1, the tax rate would be approximately $12.12 and yield a tax bill slightly over $10,700. And we can go through the next two slides that they just bring it out to 1.5. And for the median tax comparison, last year's shift was 1.11. So there's the tax rates at where we would be the anticipated tax rates, the values that we had, and the estimated amount of taxes. Next, please. This graph just shows the distribution of commercial properties throughout the town. 65 properties under $500,000, 7 properties above 10 million, and the rest of the distribution right there. So, next page. Like we do with the residential, is the average commercial tax bill from 2008 to 2026. I squeezed that 26 in there, so next year say goodbye to 2008. On to discount for open space. It's not visually going out and look at a property that has nothing on it. Discount open space is defined under Massachusetts general law right there. It's land that isn't otherwise taxable under chapter land. Chapter land is usually for agricultural or outdoor things like a golf course, what have you, may be subject to a chapter land valuation. And then when they decide to sell or something like that, we are able to go back and tax them for a certain amount of years. But we have no property in town that falls under that legal definition for open space. So in this case, as we have done all these years, it would be no, the vote would be no open space discount because there is none. Next, please. Residential exemption. You could do that. The amount would be about 35% of the average assessed value of all residential properties, including vacant land. When you adopt a residential exemption, this would significantly raise the residential tax rate. And it applies to all residential properties before the exemption. Tried and true, the distribution here, if you did it, the top third valued residential properties would fund the exemption for everybody else. It's only in a handful of communities, and I lived in 2 of them, including Boston and Chelsea. The reason it works there, they have a lot of residential investor-owned properties. So in Chelsea, for example, you had 60% residential, 40% commercial. But if that's 60% residential, 60% of that was investor-owned. It's your apartment buildings, everything, 2 families, 3 families, 6 families, 4 families, things of that nature. So those are the ones that fund the exemption. In a community like this, where it's mostly single family, mostly owner occupied, I could see no valid reason to entertain a residential exemption. Next, please. Small commercial exemption, up to 10% of the property value for commercial properties only. No industrial or business personal property. Total property value has to be less than $1 million. Not more than 10 employees as certified by the Department of Employment and Training. 1 business in a building of several would qualify only if all the other businesses qualify. The exemption goes to the real estate owner and not necessarily the business owner. And less than a dozen communities in the Commonwealth have adopted this. I'm going to refer again to our groundbreaking senior tax relief. I like to think as a community, when we think about tax relief, we think about broad. At least that's what drove me to entertain and create that type of exemption, because previously we have a senior statutory exemption and only 30 people a year would get it because the income limits, asset limits were so low. And thinking about this, you want to go for the same class, but you want more people to qualify and to benefit. So that's why we developed this. If I were to go through all the information I get from the Department of Employment and Training, I might find one or two businesses that could qualify. But we already throw a lot at our tax rate vis-a-vis the shifting for our senior tax relief, shifting relative to residential versus commercial. A third shift in the tax rate. Again, so few communities in the Commonwealth have adopted this. And it's something that I would recommend we do not entertain. Next, please. Neighboring communities. Here's what everybody else did, and I work in two of these, so I did them. But this gives you an idea of what the tax rates were, and more importantly, the shift capacity in other communities. Linfield, for example, maximum shift is 1.67. They're a little bit limited. Eventually, we'll get to the point where we'll be back up to 175, but that was their max. They did it. North Reading, they can go to 150. They stay up one. Stoneham, Wakefield, Wilmington, Woburn, all 175 without batting an eye. And Reading keeps it nice and tight. Last year, 1.11. Next page. Okay, we can scroll slowly as I have no intention of going through these individual slides. They're purely pablum thrown in there from past boards, past committees that want to see what Reading looks like compared to all these other communities. And then the next one, we have the Middlesex League. When are the softball nights? Is it Tuesday or Thursday with the Middlesex League? I don't know, but that's the Middlesex League. And then the next one, largely residential, comparable. This is what we put together for your benefit, for you to peruse. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. More Reading town comparisons. I have to laugh because my first year here, someone gave me a list and there's literally 50 properties on it. Why don't you just go to the DOR website and look it up yourself? But again, I download it and put it all here for you to look at. And the important terms, I think I beat these to death, but just something to kick around. If you don't understand the term, turn to the back and here it is. Anyone have any questions at all?
Anyone have any questions for Victor? Questions, comments? Karen, go ahead.
I met with you last week, and I want to say thank you so much for explaining this to me.
You're welcome.
It was delightful. I recommend highly to anybody who has any questions to ask him. He knows everything.
No.
Thank you very much. You made it make sense.
Well, I'm like a broken clock. I can be right twice a day.
Karen.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is my 6th preview. This is the first time I've noticed that the senior circuit tax breaker, that shift of $400,000+ is shifted only to other residential taxpayers.
Yes.
Okay, I think that's really important to repeat. I think everybody in this room is happy that we do the senior circuit breaker, but we also need to understand that that could be shared across all tax classes, including commercial.
No, it can't.
Well, let me finish before you interrupt me.
Okay.
Okay, because, and then I'm gonna come up with a thought, and then you can tell me whether I'm way off base. So, but let me finish. The other thing I wanted to share is that, so I have been a member of the MMA Fiscal Policy Committee, and I've been meeting with them all year. And so there is concern all around about getting less and less from the state government and trying to keep our communities running. So the topic of classifications came up because they haven't changed in years. So at that point, I did bring up the fact that we would love to have a small commercial exemption that was actually a workable exemption. So I was joined by a number of communities who all said the same thing. They try to look at their communities and do everything they can, and it just doesn't work. So, we've asked the MMA to make that a priority within the classifications. And then, and just generally, as I'm speaking to residents who supported both the school and the recal debt exclusion overrides, and then are now pretty concerned about hearing about an operational override in '26. As a preview, I think our select board would be well served by thinking about how we can provide some relief for the residential taxpayers. So correct me if I'm wrong in understanding that when we shift, we increase the shift of the classification of the MRF. You already lost me once we get past that. That is an indirect way of sharing the burden,
Yes,
the
it
cost.
is.
Okay,
Yes.
that's what I was getting to because I
Okay,
didn't realize that.
There is no legal way for me when I sit down and do that first calculation
Yeah.
at 400,000 and Wakefield it's 500,000, whatever. It can only, like the residential exemption, legally, it can only be shifted within the residential class. And as the first time we went for a shift years ago, some of you may have been there, some not, I recommended a shift of 1.02. Why? Doesn't kill the business class because we're still leaving 48% on the table, but it makes our rates line up. We have a commercial rate that is slightly higher than a residential rate. Okay, that's standard in any community. That's the way it should look. All 351 cities and towns. Winchester is the only one where you'll find something different because they do something hinky with water that's written off through, I have no idea how it works. Even the assessor can't explain to me. This is how my numbers come up. But that 1.02 shift, you are absolutely correct. It's an indirect way of spreading the cost of senior tax relief throughout the entire tax base. But then again, we only do a small shift here, which is fine, But again, you can't shift it. You just can't take that one component throughout the entire town and do it. It has to be just residential.
Right, so I think that's important for people to know. And then every year, I'm always shocked. It's great that we have this senior circuit breaker, but if 30% of our residents, what is the circuit breaker? When does it kick in? 62, 65?
65.
65. All right, let's say 28% of our residents. I don't know what the number is. That's a lot of residents. That's thousands of residents. So let's say it's 4,000 residents and only 200 are able to qualify for this. I think people need to understand that for whatever reason, this is not solving the problem. I would hazard a guess that, and you did a great job of identifying some reasons why somebody might be disqualified, but I'd hazard a guess there's a lot more seniors who could benefit from this, and either they're probably not applying. That could be one thing. I don't know. Yeah, I guess they're not applying, but it's just not helping that many seniors, which always concerns me in terms of sheer numbers relative to our 65 and over population who's struggling to pay the bills.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
You ready for some reasons why?
Sure.
Okay. If you go to the State DOR website, I think it's in the DLS, it might be in press releases, you can actually Google circuit breaker usage. I haven't done it in a couple of years here, but what it does, and it's a few years behind, last time I checked, there might have been 700 seniors that receive the circuit breaker income tax credit. So while there may be 4,000 people who are 65, in the 30 years I do this, I get people that come to my account, I'm 65, what do I get? I just don't know how to answer. Well, do you have no money? Are you a widow or widower? Sometimes it's funny, my wife just died, what do I get? Okay, settle down, buddy. But, you go through this. So when I started this, there were about 650 people in those years that received this. Doing my research, I figured about a third qualify for this exemption because we have local qualifiers. Own and occupy for 10 years. Co-applicant has to be at least age 60. No other significant assets like owning property, and you have to own the property. Right. So that's going to limit some of that population. Now, the reason why we only got this, what happens is, on average, we get about 250 people a year. About 60% of those depend on this form of tax relief. They are the people that consistently pay more than 10% of their income towards local property taxes and have to water and sewer. Those people always qualify. The other 40%, they might get it 1 year. And if they got the max $2,700, when I take it off the tax bill this year, guess what they can't claim next year on their taxes? Their tax bill minus $2,700. So you know what that does? Throws them beneath the 10% threshold, so they don't qualify. Those people I refer to as to get their toe in the water 1 year, next year they can't, following year they can't. So there's reasons why that happens. And myself, Michelle, by the way, Michelle Cohen, my assistant assessor, get to know her, rising star. And when I'm dead and buried, what time is it? She'll be here. If things didn't go right tonight, she'll be there tomorrow. But there's reasons why that happens, and we are intimately familiar with the finances of our senior populations. We make this easy for them. We put letters in every tax bill in spring that goes out. Everybody that applied the season before, granted or denied, gets a letter to remind them individually. So in a lot of cases, people are getting 2 reminders, plus whatever we put on the website, throw in newsletters and dog and pony show at the senior center. We're out there doing it, but there are reasons why people can't qualify. And it is, like I said, it's a program that was wide. Get the same 20, 30 people every year in the state program. Let's do what you hope to do, which is make it available to more people. We, already did that and still actively looking for ways to increase that if we can. I hope that answers your question and kind of brings you up to speed on the things that we see, the technical reasons why people qualify versus don't. So,
No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you, Victor. I appreciate everything you've done and, totally support the senior tax breaker, and hopefully we can come up with some ways to help our seniors out more. I just wanted to point out that while I agree the concern is real for an override, I do think that we need to be cautious of what we discuss at whatever point of what the split should be between residential and commercial. Our commercial in town is only 6.2%, which is pretty small. So I do worry that, and most of those are small businesses. They're not big businesses like Burlington has, like the Burlington Mall and all those large corporations. So I do caution us on when we start to discuss what we think the split should be, to be careful that we don't overburden our businesses, because we do have some debt exclusions come up like recal in schools, but you have to also understand that our businesses don't benefit from those either. So they don't, and their taxes still pay for the schools, but they don't benefit from those. So the one question I did have that you mentioned, Victor, is you said that other towns don't do a split except Winchester, but I saw on the list, at least I know North Reading doesn't do a split either. Correct?
North Reading doesn't, but just the communities that I had listed that are kind of close to us, that first bunch, those people that touch us, they're close to us, not like that far-fetched list of 87 communities where I'm comparing Reading to Marshfield for some peculiar reason.
Okay. Yeah, no, I just wanted to see if that was the case. And so, look, I did look through all your charts, so I do really appreciate you putting them in there. And I will say that for the percent of businesses that Reading has, we are in a good spot. The only outlier that has less businesses than us is Melrose, and their rate is higher. They're the only outlier of that chart that I saw.
They go close to their maximum shift.
They do, but I would argue that they have a much busier, bustling downtown than we do to support that. right now, and I'm hoping that won't be the case always, but, so those are just my cautions on, when we go to look and have the conversation and vote of what the split should be between residential and commercial.
May I just add
Absolutely,
one
please.
thing, just food for thought?
Yeah.
You do have this precious moment to decide what people's share of the tax burden will be. I will tell you this, drastic changes to that don't always work out well. Because say somehow you want to go to 130, it's too much. That would trigger an effect where you're going to croak the business community, all right? You're going to drive up abatement applications, which, are pretty good, but I don't win them all, okay? And which would cost the town money on that side. And then next year you go, oh, that was terrible. Let's go back to 1.1. You're going to upset the residential class of property because you gave them a benefit one year and took it away the next. Any decisions regarding changing the shift rate, slow, steady, slow and steady. Nothing wild, nothing big. You move 1 or 2 points either way, it's barely a blip on the radar, but it's absorbable for either class of property. Anything beyond that, you're going to create a tremendous discord within the tax base. That's just my 30 plus years experience.
I couldn't agree with you.
I know people who are no longer municipal leaders for doing such a thing.
I couldn't agree with you more. Okay.
Just a quick question though, and fair enough, gradual is good, and that's what we've been doing for years. I think last year, correct me if I'm wrong, we moved like 0.01. 0.01, okay. So Linfield went from 1.1 to 1.5, I forget what the chart said. But they didn't take 40 years to do it.
Well, that's because they built what I currently value at $270 million, Market Street.
Mm-hmm.
They built Market
Okay, but they
Street
still
and
weren't,
suddenly,
I know,
no, they had that revenue source in there
yep,
that was absorbing all of it.
Yep.
The few standalone mom and pop places, yeah, they probably got sidelined by it, but they did it to raise the revenue on that one huge property there that funds a discount for the residential side. So Linfield can be an exception, but you don't want to compare yourself to Linfield. And if any of my bosses in Linfield are watching, please forget I said that.
I mean, but there are just, you're not proposing that we take 30 years to do this. Like, I mean, you can't be.
No.
So, but we've been working on this for what, 5, 4? Like getting nowhere, basically. We're at 1.11 now, just, is that correct? Because
Yep.
it was highlighted on some
It
of the
was
slides. Yeah.
1.11 last year.
And it's taken like 4 years to get here?
Well,
It's
our first shift was 6, 8. We're going for another round of senior tax relief. So for 9 years, we've had a little shift.
9 years, so
So
it's
for 9 years,
less than 2 points for 9 years.
no, we went, actually, the first year was abominable. And it really didn't work out as the select board planned at that time, but none of you were here from that time. So it was very difficult, which is why we came to an agreement of 1.02 for a while. Take a look at it every couple of years. If you want to go up, move it a couple points, great. But what we're seeing now is commercial properties, they are, I won't say tanking, but their valuation profiles are changing. Their rents aren't what they are. Their costs to rent are more. Their cost for services, everything that gets lumped into a commercial.
So how is that different from residential? Well, okay, our values are still going up. That's true. So our taxes are still going up. Yeah, our taxes are still going up. Well, you've always told us every year.
Yep.
They're still going up exponentially, and maybe not exponentially, but they're going up significantly more. But everything else you just commented, we're all in the same community. We're all seeing the inflation and we're all dealing with it.
But what I'm seeing is I don't like to give money back. Once I issue an assessment,
Yeah.
I hate to see commercial appeals.
Yeah.
And that's when you have to roll up your sleeves and really fight it out. I mean, they come at you with everything in a commercial appraisal. You know, it costs $2.50 per square foot to lease the place. Really? Okay. You throw that in there instead of saying they just get like, say, $26 a square
It's
foot.
like leasing for $2 a square foot. People are
This is
leasing
what
for
the
20.
this is what attorneys provide me
Okay.
under,
Right, because they're filing an appeal. Yeah.
exactly.
They're doing their job. Okay.
And that increases our
But
exposure.
the rates is like $20 at least. You know, that's what people are getting.
So
Yeah,
this is
okay.
what I'm dealing with on the other end of what I'm seeing in the commercial market. So
Okay.
again, my experience is
Thank you.
big shifts.
Fair enough.
I just want to end off with, or unless there's public comment, but Linfield's commercial split is 11.1%. Reading is 6.2%. And I feel like Reading is a good spot right now with almost all of our business fronts occupied, and I would like to keep it that way, and especially a couple of the big ones we have. So I hope that we can be mindful of that when we have that discussion. Karen, if you don't have any more, I'm going to open it up to public comment. Is there any public comment? Name, address, and 2 minutes, please.
Sure. Carlo Bacci, Main Street. I'm speaking as a resident and taxpayer. Maddie, if you can pull up a slide, the commercial values from 25 to 26 that Victor prepared. I think it was about $1,000 increase, the same shift. And so I've been coming to this meeting as a resident for 15, 16 years. And the split for the senior tax break was great. And I echo all the comments that Ms. Murphy said, because it's coming, because the business community, as many spots that we have full, and we have some new businesses coming, it's a very difficult climate out there. And no, not yet. God, somewhere. But so I'm hoping the room is full next meeting with the small business owners and small landlords. Because if we go to a bigger shift, which I hope we don't, it was just two lines, maybe it was above that. It was about $1,000 difference at 1.11 because the values were changed. Maybe right, yep, there it is. Yep, right there, that's it. So we got 2025 and 2026 at 1.11. Tax rate went lower, but the median value is higher, and we have pretty much 11,000 and 10,000. So by doing nothing, the taxes are going up $1,000. So as a resident, I would advocate no further shift. I would like to go backwards, but that's not a thing we do. So I've never advocated for a big split as a resident. So I'm hoping that the board, when this comes to a vote, will keep it at 1.11, given that the median value of property owners is going up $1,000 already. So to burden them more would be a disservice to our downtown. Thanks.
Anyone else? Name, address, 2 minutes, please.
Thank you, Melissa. Chris Haley, 71 Tennyson Road. The last half hour's worth of discussion could be summed up, if I had my phone with me, could essentially be summed up with that all the mom and pop shops and actual small businesses in this town would greatly benefit from the small commercial exemption, which is on page 26 in the packet. But unfortunately, nobody can take advantage of that exemption because of no more than 10 employees who certified the department that Victor mentioned, and one business in a building of several would qualify only if all the other businesses qualified, which makes it impossible. So that's why none of these have happened. The Linfield Marketplace example, and then screwing the mom and pops, if they could use the small commercial exemption, that would not have happened. So a couple years ago, rather than me complaining about lots of things, I actually decided to take some action and reached out to Senator Lewis, Rep. Haggerty, and Jones, and I'm happy to report that, unfortunately, it's Massachusetts and things go slow. that the Joint Committee on Revenue is holding a public hearing on November 7th regarding the small commercial tax exemption. So this way here, if we can actually get that passed, not just for Reading, it would be for all the communities in Massachusetts. And then you could absolutely shift the burden more onto commercial properties, because those would be the traditional small commercial properties that would get the exemption. And that would seem fair and balanced to me, that Home Depot would pay more and Fat Larry's, Jimbo's, et cetera, all would pay less because they're small businesses, because that makes sense. So like I said, November 7th, we'll see how that goes. And I appreciate their work on this as well as the board's. Thank you.
Anyone else with public comment? Maddie, do we have anyone online?
Yes, it looks like Angela Abinda has her hand raised.
Sure. Name, address, in 2 minutes, please.
Thank you, Angela Binda, Orchard Park Drive. Can you go to the slide? It appears that residential or commercial property taxes are projected to go down in 2026 if there's no shift. Is that correct? I saw on one of the slides that it would be going down. The result would be, is that right? Yes. Oh, no, at the bottom. Right there, 2026 estimated, the average commercial tax bill history from the present. So it is expected to go down, is that correct?
That's the way the numbers fell, yes.
So I don't know any residential property owners whose bill is expected to go down. And I don't want to overburden small commercial properties, but I do think that there should be an adjustment so that there is some rise to commercial property taxes. I don't think it's fair that residential taxes will see a big increase and commercial property taxes will go down. Thank you.
Victor, can I ask you a follow-up question to that? Mm-hmm. So that's the average, not the median. But if you go to your page 21, median commercial, which is really what we're mostly concerned about, the small businesses, 2025 to 2026 will show you what those tax bills will look like. And I think that's probably a more accurate view for our small businesses. And they will increase by almost $1,000. I just want to make sure I'm correct.
Yeah, and the other thing with that I'm talking globally, okay, down 1.4%, but that's also taking into consideration changes in the tax base. Mm-hmm. New construction here, you have a project here that's adding partial, you might take from this ledger over there. But these slides that I put together, the individual ones that show the individual from 1 to 1.5, it's a better indication than just the broad-based, you know, this is the overall. For example, you're building, say you build a condo complex. Well, that gets put into my apartment building category until a master deed is filed and I can legally break them out. Now, when I submit to the DOI, they go, oh, where'd you get all that apartment building money? Oh, whoa, whoa, that's just a holding place. So again, in some instances, some of the stats look a bit distorted because of the way I'm required to account for them. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you for that explanation. Maddie, do we have anyone else online?
Not seeing any other hands.
Thank you. All right. Everyone, Karen and Karen, are we good to move on to the next agenda? Okay, great. So we are going to move on to vote to close special town meeting warrant.
Okay, thank you. And Victor's actually going to stay around for this one because one of the articles concerns something that he fought very hard for, which was the senior property tax exemption. So after we closed the subsequent town meeting warrant, I found out that the legislation that we have it needs to be renewed and it needs expires at the end of the fiscal year. So I consulted with Victor. We had some time if we were going to put it on in April But we felt that, once we do that in April, town meeting generally goes to May, things have to be certified. It didn't give the legislature much time to deal with the home rule petition from May to the end of the fiscal year. So we felt the best way to deal with it is to deal with it now at this town meeting. It's the same exact thing that we have, but apparently it does have to be renewed. And that should give the legislature enough time to deal with the home rule petition, get it back to where it needs to be before it expires at the end of the year, or at the expiration it would start anew. So if you, the wording is there in the warrant. If you have specific questions, Victor's really the expert on this, and he's the one that brought it to my attention. But it's as simple as that. I don't want it to expire. Obviously, people count on it. There's a lot of work going into it. So we want to go back for a home rule petition and have that done in time for the end of the fiscal year.
I just have a quick clarifying question before we open up to questions. So is it 4 articles that will be on the special
Yes.
town warrant? Okay, so the
First one's always reports by charter. So this one would be Article 2.
2, okay.
And then Article 3. And I'll get to the rest of them, but I wanted to focus on this one while Victor was still here to talk about. So.
Okay. Does anyone have any comments or questions on Article 2?
No. Okay. All right. Thank you. So while we were opening, having the special town meeting, we had last time Albert Pless came and gave a very good PowerPoint presentation on the need for a commission on, thank you, Victor, on disabilities. And the direction from the board at the end of the meeting was if we could do the work in time to have it on for the special town meeting, let's have it there. If not, it could wait till April. It's a very simple acceptance of a state statute. So you can see the article itself is only about 3 sentences long. So that wasn't a big heavy lift. If it is accepted, then we can work on the construction of the committee afterwards and whatnot. But to accept the statute is really the first step. So I figured we'd put it on there and discuss it at town meeting. So there it is in Article 3. And then Article 4, so this is one, and I don't know if Sharon is still on, but we had talked about this. This was actually, I believe it's Article 5 on the subsequent town meeting warrant. And it's just basically, we have a lot of this money hanging around from different capital projects that have to be used on a like project. So some of them, like the library renovations, have sat around for over 10 years. And if you remember when we talked about it, when we were talking about the subsequent town meeting warrant, we had, so I think Sharon had kind of equally divided the new purposing for the Killam project and the recal. There was concerns raised at the FinCom meeting that really the best way to do it is to have it all go to Killam, because Killam is the larger project and there's more of a savings in the borrowing if we did it that way. Again, we're only talking about less than $200,000, but it's something. It was too late to go back and reopen the warrant, so we came up with this solution where what would essentially happen at town meeting is we will, when we come to that Article 5, the old article, we will then, I guess, table it or whatever, however Alan wants to deal with it. It wouldn't be dealt with in the town meeting. We would then bring it up. It's the same exact article at the special town meeting, with the only change being Killam being the new purposes for all of this money. So hopefully I explained it well. It seems to be the only thing we can do if we wanted to deal with this in November. And I did consult with Ivrea quite a bit on this. So those are the articles for the special town meeting, which would, and I think what we'd probably do, it's up to Alan Foltz, obviously, but we would have this all scheduled for the first night of town meeting, and then we could open it and then continue it to a date certain, which could probably be the third night of town meeting, I would say. So that's where it is.
Does anyone have any questions or comments on any of the articles? Chris?
Thanks, Melissa. So Article 4, I was at the FinCom meeting when Sharon and Matt, well, online anyway, when this was discussed. And the reason that it's all going to Killam like this, it was originally broke up between Killam and the Pleasant Street Center because Sharon wanted to spread around the money. And then it was pointed out that, financially it makes more sense for everything to go to Killam because it's shorter borrowing terms, so therefore they're going to save more money on interest with that. So if you actually unpack that and realize what's transpired in that entire scenario, it's more along the lines that that when I hear comments in town being made about certain projects and people start second guessing themselves, we end up having to have a special town meeting because of it. And that's just my opinion. But, you know, when you're wanting to try to not upset the apple cart, I can kind of see where that would have made sense originally. It all dovetails back to, if you look at the library renovations, it's $93,000 that we've had sitting down. It looks like for, 12 years at this point, because we have to be able to fund something with similar borrowing terms. And that's why it sat around for that. So for me, I would rather have, as an example on a kind of borrowing project kind of scenario, I would rather paint the walls inside of Reading Memorial High School than sit around for 12 years on the money that was going to be just left there to go for something else. So that's just me, because it makes sense. And that's all I got.
Thank you. Carl, anything? Do we have any public comment on the special town meeting articles? Maddie, anyone online that would like to speak?
Not seeing any hands on Zoom.
Right, do we have a motion?
Move to close the special town meeting warrant consisting of 4 articles to take place on November 10th, 2025.
Second.
Karen seconded. Any discussion, further discussion? All those in favor? 5-0.
Thank you. I have the warrant for you to sign that I'll give to Laura in the morning.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
And now we are on to discussion and potential vote to support local initiative program application for local action units to be submitted with the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities by BLVD Reading LLC for a lot of land at 258 to 262 Main Street, Reading. Andrew.
Thank you.
Good evening, Reading Select Board, Town Management, Andrew McNichol, Community Development Director for the Town of Reading. What you have before you is really an application. It's almost akin to a tri-party agreement because there's 3 parties involved. It's the town, a developer, and the Office of Housing and Livable Communities, the previously DHCD. This application is to support what's called a local action unit application for the previously approved mixed-use project on Main Street at the corner of Main and Pinevale. So about a year or so ago at this rate, the CPDC approved that special permit for 30 total units, 7,500 square feet of commercial. 10% of those units are to be deed restricted affordable units per our local zoning bylaws. This application is really to submit with the developer the application to ELC for those affordable units and start the process to get the regulatory agreements in place. So that's what keeps them in affordability, capital A affordability in perpetuity, and the town's a party in that. And so because they're local action units, we help the monitoring and the long-term viability of those units. So that's this project specifically. It's 2 one-bedroom units being affordable and another 2-bedroom unit, just given the unit breakdown in the total building. And it appears to meet all the qualifications. There's some back and forth between ELC that we're having, but we've laid out the units with the development in theory, which units will be affordable, and looking to move forward from there so that they can get towards the building permit process. And I'm happy to take any questions on affordable housing, local action units, this project.
Great. Does anyone have any questions or concerns?
Thank you. What's challenging is sometimes the administration of the affordable housing units. Do you know where this entity is going to be located when the project's done?
When you say administration, you mean like the monitoring of the units and making sure the tenants are eligible to maintain the units?
More like the turnover.
Yeah.
What's interesting is, and this is awesome and this is terrific, but what's funny is that, so it's not the town of Reading keeping hopefully we keep an inventory so we know which ones
yeah.
are supposed to turn over.
Yep.
But when they get posted that they're available, it could be like, oh, somebody's out in Marshfield so that always.
So we can support the awareness of this. Actually, because this is a local action unit, the town will play a direct role in the annual monitoring of these units. And if there is tenant turnover, we can support through our local regional group the marketing and awareness of that unit, and then its future hopeful tenant selection and certification. If that answered the question.
Oh, no, I was wondering where the developer is going to be located.
The developer, their property management will work with us. This is a rental building, so I would expect a third-party property management to be involved. But in terms of the regulatory agreements of the building, that is with the development and the land itself.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? Chris?
Thanks, Melissa. So Andrew, for this, how does this play into the whole 40B scenario? We're breaking even because it's 10%, it's affordable.
Yeah.
So we're not gaining or losing.
Yeah, so we set that in 2019 at 10%, exactly that, to maintain at minimum 10% affordable units in developments of size. I think in this bylaw, and I should know this off the top of my head, but I believe it's about at 10 units or more in a project triggers the affordable requirements. So not every project has affordable units, but those of size do get us towards that 10%.
And then obviously there was a big uproar regarding this project, obviously at CPDC and everything back then. So this is just a formality, or how is this being handled? Because in theory, if the property had come before me to vote on it, I would not be supporting this at all. It was done in a cut through of somebody's yard over there in between two houses. But so I just need some clarification on what I'm actually agreeing to with this.
Yeah, so that design did change. All driveways are on Main Street. The building is centrally located on the lot. This is to approve what is the local requirement of the 3 affordable units in the project. And so the site plan and special permit, this was a special permit process for mixed use on South Main Street, approved the totality of the pre-development 30 units, 10% to be affordable. This is specific to those 3 affordable units.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I just have a question. I'm guessing on the proposed rent schedules, is that state mandated, or the developer comes up with those rents? Where does that come from?
Maximum rents are set actually at the federal level through fair market rents for the region. We fall in, surprisingly, to me, is still the Boston-Cambridge area. So we're in that region, and the maximum rents are set annually at the HUD level, Housing and Urban Development.
Okay, because there's a big disparity over the 2 different units as far as affordability. I mean, when we call it affordable housing, this is a joke. This is not affordable housing.
Yeah.
This was the term that we use in the state. So it's kind of sad in that sense, but 2,400 to 2,800, okay. 26 and change to 38, much bigger gap, but it's just a percentage value. Mm-hmm. And then, so that answers that question. I'm just curious, I know we're just approving the 3 affordable units, but as I'm reading this, what does MIPA have to do with this? Because what is their role in this?
I don't quite know their direct role in it, but I think, again, in this project at the administrative level, they look at the affordable units on the fair market level, at the federal level and state level of qualifying for a fair housing law, which this seems to meet in all regards.
Environmental?
Yep. So there is some environmental on the property, but that's still through the local level in our local conservation. So I don't know MIPA's direct role, but they do give it the blessing as well.
Okay. All right, thanks.
I just have a couple quick questions. One is, will these units fall in with our Affordable Housing Trust committee that we have?
Yes, because they are SHI eligible and maintained for those making 80% of the area median income, the housing trust could support them in different ways at one time.
Great, awesome. And I fully support these affordable housing units. I wish, like Carla pointed out, the value or the rents would be lower, because I agree that's not really affordable. But the one thing that I will say that was shocking to me when I read this is that I know this isn't you're doing, but the fact that MIPA has anything to do with this, and we're talking to the MBTA about diesel trains sitting next to conservation land and residents' homes, and MIPA has nothing to do with that, is just utterly shocking to me with the state. Kind of disgusting, actually. But that's my only comment. If no one else on the board has anything, I'll ask for public comment. Maddie, do we have anyone online?
Nobody online.
Do we have a motion? I believe we do.
Move to support the local initiative program application for local action units to be submitted with the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities by BLBD Reading, LLC, for a lot of land at 258-262 Main Street, Reading, and to authorize the town manager to sign said application and any other documents necessary to support BLBD's application for the local action units.
Second. Seconded by Karen. Do we have any further discussion? None? All those in favor? 5-0.
Thank you all very much. Enjoy the rest of the night.
Thanks, Andrew.
Have a good night. See you tomorrow.
Alrighty. 30. We are on, oh, I just
We're gonna finish early.
Yes, we are. We are going to move on to discuss and vote on amendment to Select Board Communication Policy, Section 1.4, and cell phone sections. We do have something in our packet, but it was Chris that worked on these edits or additions to our policy, so I will have Chris move forward with it.
Thanks, Melissa. So yeah, I went over these with town council in advance. I sent her over both the cell phone and the social media. And surprisingly, she had no comments on the cell phone one, which is good for me, I guess. And then the cell phone one, she kind of tweaked it a little to be, you know, to not remove anyone's kind of rights or, you know, not make it open for interpretation as, you know, that our select board policies are just our policies, you know, there's no penalty for violating them other than elections and so on and so on. So this is more of just in the spirit of nature that I thought that we could adopt these. I know that prior boards tried doing additional things, and I'm sure there's some extra stuff that we can put in here regarding other things, like the school committee has representatives only posting on Facebook once a month. They go through a roundtable on that. And then I believe RMLD has something else, but this is more of, you know, brief, and hopefully that we can agree to these and just move forward essentially. So that's all I was kind of looking for with this. I know that, you know, I respect people wanting to use cell phones, and I completely understand things come up. Carlo had something come up, you know, like a meeting or two ago. And that's why it's in there that, you know, if we have to step away, you know, just please excuse yourself, walk out of the room kind of scenario to not disrupt the meeting. And then the same thing for social media. It's not restricting anybody's rights or anything, but it's more just letting it just kind of be in print that, you know, that the select board values everybody's opinions, and we shouldn't seek to silence them. And if there's anything open for interpretation, it can get sent over to IVRIA and we'll go from there. So that's it. I'll be happy to take any questions, but like I said, there's no examples. This is just as of today, moving forward. Thanks.
Does anyone have any comments or feedback they'd like to share?
Nope.
I do, I guess. Since I'm not on social media, I probably shouldn't be the first one to talk.
Okay, Mark.
What does that mean?
Well, if you watch our meetings, you know what that means.
Okay, so I don't know what that means. I think this is complicated, and I don't know if I have a good view of this because I'm not on social media, and I understand freedom of speech. I understand it can get nasty on there. I understand that a lot of people take their frustrations out on there because it's easy and it's faceless. And I think that we as a board, I don't know if we should be discussing matters related to the board on social media, because how do you not run into public meeting violations? Mm-hmm. And so I think that it's a very treacherous thing to deal with because you can't tell. And so I agree we need something. I just don't know how detailed, or should we be super detailed? And so in this one, you know, and we've received comments from people on emails about social media can take all different, if I decide to have a blog, you know, then it's out there online, you know, and other platforms that people prevent, you know, Reading Observer, all these, the Post, or all these other Reading Recap, you know, it's very hard to put the genie in the bottle, as they say, as far as how to monitor what goes in, what goes out. And so I don't, you know, the sentence of this includes decisions to block individuals or restrict access. I'm not quite sure what that means, but you also run into the freedom of speech issue. So if Sam has a Facebook page, I'm being shut off?
I mean.
Do not disturb. It's not, sorry, it's literally on do not disturb. I apologize.
That's okay. Can I keep going?
That's a big thing.
It wasn't even my kids that time. I don't know why I ran through. I apologize. Perfect timing.
Well, it's starting today.
And the phone calls go through.
Moving forward.
Mine was on do not disturb and the phone call went through.
Yeah.
You know, so how do you know, if Sam has a site and somebody's, you know, harassing him, he has every right to shut somebody down for whatever reason. So, you know, or if somebody's texting me on my phone and I don't know who they are, I have every right to block them, even though, you know, just because it's your right to be able to say, I don't want to hear this, or you're offending me, you know, without getting to a big back and forth kind of a thing. So I'm kind of really, it's very big. And I think that it leads into, and I know this is the elephant in the room, of the Reading Recap and who's at the helm, and for all of them, you know, we had a real big thing with the Reading Post, and I think that they're all similar. And I think that if we're going to dive into social media, I think it needs to encompass the bigger picture of it as well, you know. But now am I taking it way out of what it was meant to be? Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of, I'm struggling with it a lot. And so, and the paragraph, I have a problem with the town council reference, because I think a lot of the stuff that goes on social media is personal, and we shouldn't be using town council as our personal attorneys. And so I think you have the right to seek counsel, but I don't think that we should be using town council for something that's it was on the town website, that's one thing, but if it's on your personal Facebook page or whatever your thing is, I don't think that we should be asking town council whether we're violating something or not. That's something that we would do personally. Yes, sir.
No, I'm just trying to, Melissa, not to you. To speak after you.
Sorry.
To speak after you. Thank you for calling me sir.
You're welcome. So, I mean, that's just my thing. You know, if I decide to have a TV show on, you know, RCTV, is that I am a select board member, but it would be personal, but just that suck it in there as well, you know, I don't know.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
So so Karen, you and I think a lot, believe it or not, as far as like using town council and not using town council, and I can definitely understand how you're reading this or interpreting it, because it's open to interpretation. And the reason I called you Mark Doxel was also not on social media. So whenever we talked about social media, he, played that card, and it was true. But the way I read this, and maybe it has to be more deliberate, is that most of us have or had, depending on when we're running, campaign pages that are to the public. Those, to my understanding, are treated differently than our personal pages. We're allowed to have personal pages. We're allowed to communicate things on our personal pages like I do. I advocate for small businesses in town. I advocate for my business on my personal page. But when I have my campaign, I've had my campaign page and I'm campaigning, I don't block residents. I don't make rude comments. I'll answer a question if asked. And that's how a campaign page should be, where we're campaigning to the whole town, not just our base. So that's the way I interpreted this, and I'll give you one quick example. A few years ago, I was extremely frustrated over some construction. We had construction gate, and this spilled over to the chocolate truffle where the chocolate truffle is. And Fidel was the town manager, and I went ballistic. And I posted on social media, and I tagged a few board members. That is not what we're supposed to do. And thankfully, I was infuriated, and a resident who I don't agree with politically pointed that out, and I edited it. So that's a case of what I did because I was so mad and wanted to tag some of my board members that I was Facebook friends with that I shouldn't have did, but it was in the heat of the moment, and I corrected it. That is different from posting that on my campaign page, my frustration, and me having a back and forth with somebody and then me blocking them because they're disagreeing with me. That's a lot different than our personal pages, our private meetings, whatever. Our campaign pages, I could be wrong, are kind of more rigid and more specific because it's open to the public, everyone.
Can I respond?
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't look at this separating Facebook personal and Facebook campaign. So I think if we're going to narrow it down, I think that would be something, because I just assumed everyone's, as naive as I may be, if you're running and using it as a campaign, of course you're going to be respectful. So a lot of this to me is just common sense, but I think that didn't come across to me in this paragraph or two paragraphs as far as the difference between personal. I look at this because it's very hard. So that might be where my confusion is that I was not looking at it as a campaign type page, which is public and I get, do you know what I mean? And then your personal ones, because.
No, I get it. And I guess, thank you. And I agree with you. And the problem is we can comment as residents whenever we want on anyone's page that we're allowed to, right? So because you're not on social media, you don't see some things that a lot of us see. So that's not to make you feel bad or anything, but there's a lot that's going on out there that's good and bad, right? But over my almost 6 years of doing this, it's personal pages and then our campaign pages. Those are two separate buckets for me personally. I don't know how others feel, but we've had people on boards that have not done the right thing on their campaign page. So that's the way, and if we need to reword this, I will side with you, and we need to be more specific, because our personal rights and our constitutional rights are way beyond our policies. This is just a policy.
Yeah,
right?
no, I get it.
It's a guide for us how to behave.
I think it's tough though, because if you're running and you're not on the board, you wouldn't be reading the policy. So for me this year, I wouldn't even know what the policies were for, do you know what I mean? So, and I know I'm making minutia details, but that's usually what policies.
No, but you're right. So Karen and I are up this year for re-election if we choose to run, correct?
Yep.
So my account got hacked. Let me finish. My account got hacked. My whole account got hacked over a year ago. Facebook got shut down. So recently, I started a new campaign page to get ready if I'm going to decide to run. Okay? That'll be my public page. That'll be for announcements, for meeting with residents, whatever it is. Then there's my personal page, that's my personal stuff, family stuff, whatever. So, yeah, this year, if I run, the campaign page will be active, as I'd imagine Karen's will, if she decides to run. And then after April, it goes dormant. So I'm, you know, me and you have been taking the floor, and I'm okay with, I'd like to hear what the other guys think, but I think I agree with you that it can be more specific if you want it to be.
I'm just going to throw one caveat in there to make this a lot more difficult, because there are a couple cases sitting in the Supreme Court right now, which makes this even more difficult. It's not just personal pages versus political pages. There's some wording, and they haven't made a ruling yet, so we don't know where this is going to come, but there's some rulings that say that if a person that's elected or in a public position uses their private page for town, city, state stuff, then it becomes a very gray area of, is this public or personal? So those are things that are sitting in the Supreme Court right now. We don't know where they're gonna go, but that makes this situation a little more difficult, because it's not just your campaign page versus your personal page. So there is some potential, right now it's gray, and we just have to wait and see what will happen. And that's unknown on timing, I'm sure, but that could be another piece of this.
So we might have to change it. Sorry, we might have to change it depending on.
We could, yeah. Yep. It's been in the Supreme Court for some time, so
okay.
I don't know, those are kind of unknown dates, but just wanted to throw that out there. Karen or Chris, if you had any comments. Chris, go ahead.
Thanks, Melissa. Just to follow up to what Karen had said. The only time in 3 years that Reading Recap has ever been brought up by me is on Tuesday, October 21st at 8:32 p.m. That is the first time I have ever said those words in this room. You do not lose your personal rights because you won a popularity contest. You don't. It's already been discussed ad nauseum. That's why we can give public comment on issues before the board that we may or may not be conflicted with. You do not lose your personal and private rights as a resident. You're just as willing and able as anybody else. So yes, to your point that, if people were doing X, Y, Z, great, they can do it. That's not in front of us right now. This is simply just social media. And then obviously social media can kind of somewhat dovetail to that kind of scenario as well. But if you decided to do something tomorrow, I don't know, perhaps open your own newspaper. Surprisingly, you won't have any conflicts because they don't exist. They haven't. I got reported 3 years ago, twice, and have already been thoroughly investigated. And this will not be the first, nor will it be the last time that this comes up, because people on Facebook think they know better than the Attorney General and everyone else that got involved with this. So hopefully that puts it to bed. I highly doubt it. I don't expect it ever to be. People can disagree, but like I said, I want a popularity contest, and I can still do whatever I want to do. That goes for all of us up here. I don't get special rights that anybody else does not. So this is more in line with the spirit of, to Carlo's example, I'll give one as well. That when I ran in 21, I blocked one person ever on Facebook dealing with a water tower. I'd like to make part 3 on that. But anyway, dealing with the whole water tower scenario. And I blocked this person, and then I went to bed, and then I woke up, changed my mind, unblocked them. Is what it is. And now we're on speaking terms. We see each other at events and everything. It's, as if nothing happened. And that's the way it's supposed to be. So in my example there, I learned from that. And, I don't want to say I'm friends with this person, but I could probably have an hour-long conversation with them. And there will be no ill will or anything. And compared to 2021, Chris Haley, I did not think that would be remotely the case. But that's about living and learning and growing, and that's just my example. Carlo had his. We're all guilty of doing kind of this stuff, other than you, because you're not on Facebook. But it's more the spirit of just not blocking and silencing opinions. I don't know if we could summarize this in one sentence if we wanted to. I understand harassing and threatening. None of us wants that. I do not advise anybody to threaten or do anything with any board members, people in general, nothing. Do not say any stupid stuff. People have said stupid stuff to me, and believe me, I want to block them, go to the police, do whatever scenarios. Unfortunately, everybody knows about the crazy person that actually went somewhere with that. But it's more along the spirit of we shouldn't be silencing other people's opinions. And if you don't want to abide by that, you don't have to, because these are just select board policies. It's more of the spirit of doing it. We'd love to abide by everything that's in this list, not just these items, every single thing on here, but sometimes we don't. And it is what it is. And the only time you pay is during election time. And do I think that's right? Probably not. But we don't have any penalties. And we already reviewed in the charter about penalties, and everybody said it's impossible. And, there's no violation for breaking the charter either. It is what it is. This is more of a spirit. Can we all agree to this and move forward?
So I don't personally, I don't think there's a conflict for someone that wants to have a blog, a website, or whatever. That's not what I'm getting at. So please don't think that that's where I'm going with this. Because you're right. I could open a newspaper. I could do whatever. That's not where I'm going with this. I think that it shows that it's a much larger issue. I know that this is very focused, but I think we as a group, we might want to, if we decide on this tonight or another night, we might want to look at it in a much more global thing, because it's just getting bigger as far as social media and everything that's out there. And I don't think it really matters if I'm on social media or not, because it's still out there, whether it be on emails or whatever. So I think it's around more in different places than you imagine. So it's not that I think that there's a conflict. That's not, do you know what I mean? So I do,
but I only said it because you referenced the email, and the email obviously references more than what you're expanding upon, which I appreciate, but that's why I mentioned it.
I think in reference to the email, I think that it's important that we are open and transparent, and I think that we're doing a pretty good job about that, but I do think we can get better, especially in this kind of a venue. And so being super, super cautious with social media, I think, is incredibly important. And to Carlos' own admission, we got to keep our hats, everybody cool, and count to 10, or type your email and hold it for overnight, and then, do you know what I mean? But I think that I would expect that from everyone, not just the board. So a lot of this behavior is what I would expect from my own children or whomever. So I think, the board tends to get very heated on things that's the minutiae stuff that doesn't really matter. So I appreciate us trying to organize it and come to terms on it. I would like us to really think about it in a much bigger place as well. So if we have to start here, and then once the Supreme Court comes, then we might modify it a little bit, but I don't know which direction to go. So I think that's just my comment.
So my question to you, Karen, is when you are saying start here, are you saying that, are you looking to expand it beyond social media? Are you looking to just open, transparent, across the board? Like, what do you know what it is that you're trying to?
Probably not, only because I think we've had some other comments about some things, code of ethics, and so I think that it would be a good idea to go through the document. And if we're only talking about, which we are, is only social media and cell phone, I think that is very specific, and we can always change it or modify it later. But I do think that we need to, if we're going to discuss it, just these two paragraphs or two topics, I think we need to take the town council part out, and we can go through it. But it's not that it's a bad statement. It kind of makes sense. Do unto others as you would do unto them. Do you know what I mean? So it's unfortunate that we always have to remind people, but we do, and not just here, other places. So I think that we could add more to this packet that we haven't really discussed yet. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I agree with you actually 100%, because I would love for us to go through our policies and procedures, and I'm hoping that maybe that can be part of our retreat that we might try to do. Because I think that would be a great time for us to sit down and do that, because I think it's really important, not only for these two items, but for in general. And I want to just touch base on one thing that Chris said, is that, you know, I do find it unfortunate that our policies and procedures are kind of like thrown out. It's like, why do we even have them? I really would love for our board and forward boards to really abide by them, because I think it's important. When it comes to social media, I'm probably the extreme opposite of most other people. When I ran, people told me I needed to like edit things on Facebook and like take things down, and you know, and I refused to do that.
Scrub it.
Yes, scrub it. I guess that's a good term. And I didn't do that, and I will not block anyone, and I will have a conversation with anyone. And I had some not nice people comment on my things that I never deleted, even though people told me to delete many times. But I'm the complete opposite. I'm of the opinion that you have to have a tough skin if you want to run for office in anything. So, and you need to try to work around those, you know, difficult conversations and move forward with people. But I would love to dive more into these, because I do think they're important, and maybe we add a little bit to both of them. But I do think, like you said, we need to go through all of them. And I think that maybe if we can get a retreat scheduled, that would be a great time to do that. Karen, do you have anything that you'd like to add?
The cell phone policy seems really obvious, but it's a lot simpler. I don't have a problem with that. I use my cell phone for my notes, for my liaison notes. I will be continuing to do that. I've done that for 6 years. That is my preferred device. So what I need to know is that I'm not going to have select board members attacking me or insinuating that I'm texting or violating this policy. And that really gets to the code of conduct, which doesn't appear to be followed a lot. And, you know, I'm just looking at there was a post on October 13th by Carlo Bacci. Most people love Italians, and underneath it he shared an article from the Reading Recap, and it talked about a vote that we took and a proclamation from which I abstained. And one of the comments underneath it, there are only like 60 comments, but one of the comments underneath it was, "What is up with this? It seems like it's designed, this honestly seems like a non-issue and worded to incite anger for no reason." So that is the kind of social media work we as select board members, or statements and actions, we as select board members should not be doing. That's a great example. There have been others, they have been deleted. And it is a very real concern of mine, having spoken to town council in a number of instances, that select board members really shouldn't be commenting on topics that will come before us. You shouldn't be sharing your opinion. You could be in a forum with two other members, and there's the chance that you're in an open meeting law violation situation. So, and to the letter that the select board received expressing concern that we may have a select board member who posts in a social media forum and then follows it up like 2 comments later with a sharing of a Reading Recap article, that this is, you know, there's no honesty and transparency there. There really isn't. But I'm going to stay in the category that we should never see select board members saying, when there's a Reading Parents Network with a lot of people, and people will go, "Oh, my trash didn't get picked up." And then there'll be a select board member that says, "Oh, don't worry, I'll call the town manager about that and have it handled." Like, that's not what we do. We should never be doing that. That is not our job. You could say, "Oh, that's terrible," but SeeClickFix can take care of that. There's a lot of crazy things going on in social media that you aren't seeing. This tiny little paragraph is not a policy, and if we want to have a conversation about what our role is on social media and how we will interact with each other and how we will adhere to a code of conduct, I think that would be a great start. But this paragraph, I haven't done it tonight. I would love to take a look at what the school committee has as a social media policy, because they might comment on a decision that was made and they'll say, I'm speaking as myself, or I'm the person this week who's authorized to speak about what the select board decided, much as you might do in a meeting where you clearly say, this is what the select board decided, and that's factual and it's public information. Or you might say, this is one select board member speaking. That's not what's happening on social media. So we could, talk about codify that, because you would think it would be obvious to people, but it isn't. And there's a lot of hate spewing going on in social media, and there's the real risk, in my opinion, of open meeting law violations. So stay off of it. You're not missing anything. So I'm not going to be voting for this. I would make an amendment to only vote for the cell policy, but if you want to keep it as all or nothing, then I will not be voting for it.
Does anyone else have any comments? Oh, sorry, Chris.
No worries. Thanks, Melissa. In regards to, because I said I wanted to move forward, but apparently we're not moving forward, we're going backwards. In terms of my own comments, where I see people commenting about trash or any one of the other things that I've seen on there, or about the pavings on the streets or whatever, when I see something and it, no resident maybe interjects or says they know or whatever, will I get involved and reach out to Matt and get an answer? Absolutely. That will never change. No policy, no nothing will ever change me advocating for residents and getting answers to their questions, because somehow that's wrong. Not for me, it isn't. I've been doing this since day one, and I will never change. I will always advocate and try to help somebody out, because I was in a position myself before where I thought the deck was stacked against me when I lived on Causeway Road and all that. And the same thing for the MBTA people and all that. They have the deck stacked against them, and I am advocating for them and giving them a platform to be able to make their case, and then it's over. It's as simple as that. And that will never change for me. And to use that somehow as a negative is just baffling to me, and it will never be the way that I operate. That won't change for me. But in terms of the article that was referenced, it's always you shoot the messenger. You don't argue about what actually is contained in the article, the factual article in nature, non-opinion based. That's the problem why people walk out of the room for the third time in the last 3 months. It's just unbelievable. Our trash meeting went off without a hitch. Everything was fantastic, and then here we are.
Stay on topic.
Yes, thank you. But that's essentially it. I'm good for this. I had a variation that I gave over to Ivrea. I'm fine with removing the town council aspect out of this. I know that's what you had mentioned, Karen. I'm fine with removing it. But I think we need to set a baseline and example here that we're not going to block people that we don't agree with, and then delete the post and repost it and block comments. Absolutely not. You didn't get elected for that.
Yeah, I'm okay with removing town council and approving it as written, because we need to move forward. And like Chris said earlier, the social media policy could have been summed up in one sentence. Maybe we can add campaign page. I don't know if that makes a difference.
I will add, sorry.
But blocking comments and doing what Chris just said was done, and making comments about residents, calling them rude, reposting the same post, and then blocking comments is exactly why this policy is being written, because that's not cool on your campaign page. To go to a meeting and you didn't come to our meeting, to go to another meeting, and then to call them rude, and then to block them and repost it. So is that right? I don't think so. But you can decide for yourself if that's right.
I
All right, do we want to do these separately or, oh, actually, does anyone else on the board want to speak? No. Do we have any public comment that would like to be given?
Bob? Any?
Maddie, anyone online that would like to give public comment on this agenda item?
Yes, Angela Abinda has her hand raised.
Angela, just name, address, and 2 minutes, please.
Is she on, Matt?
Yeah, she seems to be on.
Angela, you're on mute right now.
Okay, thank you. Angela Binda, Orchard Park Drive. At 7:33 p.m. tonight, during discussion on tax classification, Select Board Chair Christopher Haley was using his cell phone. Again, 7:33 tonight, he was using his cell phone. He picked up his cell phone and took several pictures, and while he may not have been sitting at the horseshoe, he is still expected to be doing only select board business at the meeting. While Mr. Haley taking pictures, was Mr. Haley taking pictures as part of select board business, or will we see those pictures on Reading Recap? That is a violation of the rule that he wants to enact. This is so hypocritical. Rules should apply to behaviors and not devices. When Mr. Haley got up for comment, he said, "Let me grab my phone." I hope you do not pass the cell phone amendment and just require respectful engagement and focus on behaviors and not particular devices, be it a phone or a computer. If you want complete engagement and transparency, put your computers down as well as your phone. And I'm asking Mr. Haley to explain why he was using his phone at 7:33 when he was supposed to be completely engaged as a select board member. Please take your time and go through and think about this. Do not approve this tonight. Thank you.
Maddie, is there anyone else online that would like to speak?
Not seeing any other hands raised.
Great. We are going to move to vote and see where we go with this. The social media policy, I think we've already agreed that we are going to take the last sentence out completely to the extent board members play blocking. Yes, with the removal of the last sentence. Do you have a motion for
The whole last sentence?
Yeah, I believe so.
Start at to the extent?
To the extent of board members.
Oh, okay.
Because we don't, I agree 100% with Karen, the fact that we don't want to use town council as our personal.
Okay.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. In my opinion, and I'm one person, but I would like to vote on these tonight. I wish it was just as simple as Angela said, that we could count on everyone's behavior. But I also would like to get into more depth when we have our select board outing to discuss all of the policies. I don't know, do we have motions separate for these, or are they just?
Yeah, we have separate motions.
Yep.
Okay, let's do the first motion then.
Move to amend section 1.4 of the select board policies by adopting a new section 1.4.3 entitled social media with the removal of the last sentence of the policy.
Second.
Seconded by Chris. Do we have any further discussion? Chris?
Thanks, Melissa. Real quick, at 7:30, I was acting in the capacity as a resident. I recused myself for a half hour worth of board things, and I made the statement attributed to that. So I do not lose my personal right to speak, in which I did after that. Speaking as a resident, I did not mention that I was a member of the select board at that time because I was not allowed to. And that is following the law and following our policy. So I am ready to vote on this.
Do you have any, Karen?
Yep, I'd like to comment that we have a policy of not responding to public comment, and the chair just broke that policy again. So, you know, policies only work if people agree to abide by them, whether it's conduct or any other component of our policy. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you. All those in favor of the motion in front of us for section 1.4.3, all those in favor? All those against? That's 4-1. Second, policy, cell phone use. Do we have a motion for that?
We do. Move to amend section 1.4 of the select board policies by adopting a new section 1.4.4 entitled cell phone use as presented today.
Second.
Chris seconded. Do we have any further discussion on the cell phone use policy? No further discussion. All those in favor of the new 1.4.4 cell phone use policy? 5-0. We will move on to our next agenda item, which is review and vote on Finance Committee's request to receive a free review of town financial policies from Division of Local Services Financial Management Resource Bureau. Geez, sorry. I see, I don't know, or Joe, do you want to speak, or did Matt?
Yeah, this was a request from FinCom, so
Yeah.
Joe is the chair of FinCom, I think is appropriate to speak on this.
I can introduce this, or you can.
Go ahead.
It's relatively straightforward. You saw my memo in the packet. You know, like other communities, we have a variety of policies relating to budget planning and capital expenditures, things like that. Our policies have not been reviewed in quite a while, and the state offers a free service to review it with us. People have experience working with other communities, so Finance Committee would like to take advantage of this, but the request must come from the town executive, which is you all. So that's why we're here.
Great. One quick clarifying question. Did the FinCom vote on this at all?
I should remember if we actually voted. I don't think there was any dissent, but I don't know if a vote was taken.
Okay, just was gonna add that to support. Does anyone here have any comment or questions for Joe? Okay.
No, just a comment. It's free, it's for me, so thank you.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost us anything.
Anyone else? Questions?
No, I think it's a great idea.
Great. Do we have a motion?
Move that the board request a review of the town's financial policies from the Division of Local Services Financial Management Resource Bureau.
Second.
Seconded by Karen. Do we have any further discussion? I just want to add, I think this is a great idea, especially right now in the state we're in, so thank you for putting this forward. No more comments or discussion. All those in favor? 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
All right. Discuss and vote to instruct the town manager to explore Friday and Saturday only valet parking license agreement. Do we have anything in the packet on this? I know that we had a discussion about this at our
Nothing in the packet that I see.
October 7th meeting, and at that time, October 7th, right? That was right.
So.
Yeah, October 7th meeting, we had a discussion on it. I know we got some feedback from the police department, but does anyone else have any feedback? Carl, go ahead.
No feedback per se, but I was the one that recommended to, because there was a lot of discussion on this topic and what's fair and what's not fair, that Friday and Saturday, if we could figure this out, makes the most sense. We don't need this 7 nights a week for the restaurants. So that's, I think, why this is before us again. And with nothing in the packet, because we don't have anything written about this anywhere, it would be town staff and PTTF would be writing something up that we would vote on. This is just something to put forward that any restaurant could apply for, and I think have a parking plan and have not use public streets for the valet and all that stuff. This would come as an expense to anyone that wanted to do it on top of the fee that we would impose. So I know we received some emails that there's nothing in the packet and there's nothing to put in the packet other than our past discussion on this. So I think it makes sense. I'll speak first if that's okay. I think it makes sense because this comes to an expense that anyone applying for this would have to incur. And if that's how they want to operate their business, I support it. I don't think many people will take advantage of this. This is just my opinion. I could be wrong, but we'll approve it on a case-by-case basis. This is not a stamp approval for 1 or 2 spots for every restaurant. It's just not feasible, and for a lot of places, it doesn't make sense because we have municipal lots. So, I will support the discussion of this in the Friday and Saturday only, and then we'll leave it to town staff and police and maybe fire to give us their input and how we can put this in place.
Thanks, Melissa. Yes, I put this back on the agenda because it was brought up previously at the other meeting. The reviews were kind of mixed on it, but I think what we took away was let's see if the Friday-Saturday scenario will work. And I know Carlo had mentioned at a prior meeting, or Matt ended up speaking with Kevin and Jason over at Post to see if he was good with that. And it's not specific to just Post. It's going to be, before we expense the time, effort, and energy into this, like obviously Ivrea would have to get involved in writing something, town staff would have to do all this. Before we went down that road, I saw how the discussion went last time, and to save us time and money, that's why it's like this. So if the board is amendable to exploring the Friday, Saturday option, then Matt will work with Ivrea, come up with a license agreement. Kind of scenarios is they have to have off-street parking, they can't use our lots. They can kind of work these kind of scenarios out. So it's not going to be taken advantage of by everybody. Anybody who wants to use it is going to have to pay a fee for it to happen. But it's another revenue stream for us. It's another way to give back to the business community, even though a handful might only take it, or none, who knows. But it's more along the lines that, we could have this in here and it could drive some more people to our downtown. I don't have data on how many that is. I know it'll be more than one person. And it's up to the businesses to have a parking plan and everything else in place and whatever. That's kind of what a rough draft that I've seen from other communities that they do. But it was more of the temperature of the board to see, because if this failed 4-1 or something, then agreements were all done for nothing and everything else. So I didn't think that it was right to spend all that time and energy and money, of course. So that's kind of why this is on here, and we already discussed it previously, and I understand the pushback from the police. And I agree with them to a point, but that's why we're kind of compromising here in just 2 days. And the enforcement won't be the police. The enforcement will end up being on the restaurants, but they're going to have to handle it. Like, it all becomes hands-free. That can be worked into whatever agreement Matt puts, if the board wants it to. They could put in there that the police has to handle it. It's however we would get to that stage if we want to get there. So that's kind of where we're at. And I just think that it's a nice goodwill gesture and see what we can do.
Karen?
So I guess I'm confused. I thought that we had said that, have you talked to the gentleman at the Post about our conversation the last time?
Yes, so we said to work through Kevin. So Kevin McCarthy's here, the gentleman from the.
I didn't know you were sitting there.
Jason is here.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And
I've never met you.
So through that connection, we had found out that Friday and Saturday would work, at least for that one business. I mean, we may want to consider issuing an RFI or something to open it up to the entire town or the entire downtown. There's a lot of options. Probably a license agreement is probably the way we'd handle it in the end as well. So, but I've talked to Ivrea about it a couple times just in general, but we don't have anything that we're ready to put in the packet.
Do we have any other restaurants or places that are interested in something like this?
I haven't heard of any. I don't know though. I mean, there could be.
I just know, as Chris and I both know, parking downtown.
Yeah.
We love to talk parking.
Not at night. And Kevin's here. Maybe he knows if somebody else has.
Does anyone else?
Sure.
Kevin McCarthy.
Kevin McCarthy, Senior Planner, Economic Development. Good evening. Not to my knowledge, but I'm still the new kid on the block here, literally. So you guys would have much more knowledge about if other restaurants had previously floated the idea or asked about it. So not to my knowledge. Jason would be the first. So this would be somewhat of a trial, see if we can get across the line. In principle, we should be able to get it done. Other communities do it, notwithstanding the concerns of the police department. So, but I think this is a great opportunity for us to figure out the details of how this would work, and then see if other restaurants may put up their hand and go, yeah, actually, okay, I think this could work for us too. So, thank you. Any questions while I'm here?
So I guess what I'm saving time and money, you know, I had sided with the police thinking that it really wasn't, you know, the who's gonna manage it just seems a little vague to me. And if they're gonna manage it, who's gonna manage them managing it? Do you know what I mean? So if you, yes, oh, sorry.
So the way I understand it, and I could be wrong, is they would lease from us 1 or 2 spaces that they would manage for a certain period of hours, and that's it. So during the
Just
day.
managing those spaces, let's say they're right.
For that time frame.
Right.
From 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., 4 p.m., whatever we agree upon, they're public spots. At 5 p.m., 4:01, 5:01, they become XYZ spots for them to manage, for them to tow a car if they're in that spot with signage, you know, valet spots, just like when you go to Boston.
Yep.
You go to Boston, oh, you see some spots. Oh, see some guys with jackets standing on the sidewalk. I can't park there. They paid for that service, the city of Boston.
So in this process, the condo unit owners, are they gonna participate in this discussion at all? Can he speak?
Jason, if you'd like to come up and
Sure,
add some
thanks.
information, that'd be helpful. Thank you.
Hi, Jason.
I'm Karen, nice to meet you.
Jason Karen, owner of Post 1917. The condo doesn't have anything to do with what we're trying to do right now. I have a rental agreement with the gentleman across the street with the bank parking lot. So the first 2 spots closest to the condo parking lot would be the unloading loading zone, and then they would park in the parking lot next door.
I gotcha.
So we wouldn't take any public parking. It would be a nice service for a restaurant of caliber.
So how do you deal with the Lexington location? Do they have the same kind of setup in Lexington?
There is so much parking in Lexington.
Well, there is a lot.
It
But
is.
it's all metered parking. Oh, but probably not at night.
They kind of don't really do anything after 6 o'clock.
Okay.
So it's pretty well managed.
Okay.
Wink, wink.
So, and we wouldn't really actually, I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm not going to call the police, put a ticket. I just want the ability to have 2 spots on a Friday and Saturday night. If you imagine parking in that lower parking lot, walking up with high heels in the winter through the streets and all that, it's not really fun. And people do get dressed up to come in the Post. So I'm just trying to provide a service, and I'm not trying to, go against the police. I know they have a lot on their plate, but I wouldn't really ask them for anything, to be honest. I just want the ability to have those spots.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? No? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other input from the board? Karen?
So the RPD raised some genuine concerns last week that I don't take lightly. And I'm imagining how much fun PTTF is gonna be with the police chief or his representative who is a member saying, I don't wanna do this. So that's gonna be interesting. So what I hear, this is a new line of business that the restaurant owner wants to start. And you raised the option for us to make some money. So I would see this, the only way I would see this would be worth doing if we make some significant money. Because we are starting to get residents come in this time of year and say, I need, or when there's a snow imminent or snow danger, already saying, I don't have parking. And so I'm a little concerned about putting residents' more out of sorts than they already are down there. And the fact that no other restaurants have come forward, I mean, kudos for being an entrepreneur, that's great.
I did try this last year, and they poo-pooed it, and I didn't want to push it. And it was brought up, and then Kevin and I, the town managers, have been trying to kind of work on it, so.
Yeah. So the question was asked earlier, so I've been on the board since March 3rd, 2020. I've never heard anyone else ask for this. So it really seems like something that is very appropriate for Boston, where, yeah, good luck finding parking, and it's quite expensive. So if you're gonna spend money on parking anyway, and you can spend it because it's right there, but in Reading, you're not spending any money on parking, and I mean, I don't see that there's a parking problem in Reading overnight. So I don't, and I'm leery about asking staff to take on more at this point when they are working on a major school building project. They are working on a major recal project. We've asked them to get the MWRA to get us money back. We have a turn back project right now that is taking a lot of staff resources and select board resources. And so I always want to be careful about people request things. For instance, we've requested brunch, and I think a couple of restaurants have requested that, and that actually would bring people to Reading. I don't agree with the argument that valet parking will bring people to Reading, because I don't see it as a problem. But that's just me. Other people in high heels, they may be wearing higher heels than I do. But I worry about, we have limited resources, and is this what we need to be spending on them on right now? That's it. Thanks.
I want to thank Jason for coming, and I totally support this. This will not be on the police department to manage. They've made it clear that they cannot manage it. Jason's made it clear he's not looking for them to manage it. He has a lease with a private parking lot. It is a service that he's going to offer his customers if they would like it, and the caliber of people that I think are eating at the Post frequently would appreciate it. And those two spots I don't see being a problem, as all the parking lots down there are open to the public at night. So the residents of the Post itself have underground parking or out and back. So I don't think this is an issue. I do agree with that the town staff does have a lot on their plate right now. So I don't think this is like an urgent, like ASAP thing, but I would like to see this, get information on this so we can, give it to Jason, give it to the other restaurants in town, if there are any others that might be interested in it. My only little caveat is I am a little concerned that could we feasibly do it for other restaurants that are in different locations? That would be a little bit of a concern for me, in where they're located. The Post has that spot that's quieter right out front in the evening time. That makes it a little easier, but I would support town going forward with this. Does the board have any other input, comments?
Thanks, Melissa. Yeah, just real quick, it's not specific to Post. It is going to be open up to the rest of the town. So perhaps other businesses, when they've moved here or look about coming here, I'm sure valet is on the very bare minimum of their list. If they're a restaurant, maybe they're not, I don't know. But when you see that it's not offered, you think that, what are the chances of me getting this changed in Reading? Slim to none. Until now. I mean, it's just another way to drive more business here. Like I said, we're not shattering ceilings on this, but I do think that it's going to improve. And based off that, especially with restaurants, the meals tax and everything else that can come back to us, obviously that's even better. And then maybe Venetian Moon, there's 2 spots over there, super easy. Zuka, kind of annoying, but maybe something over there. That's not up for us to decide. It's up for staff every year to come up with something, and it's going to be open to everybody. And then maybe other people will see this and think, you know what, I got to do this. Oh, I have to get a parking arrangement at some other lot around some, okay, well now it's not cost efficient, or, it doesn't fit in my budget. And then they make the decision not to do it. It's their decision, not ours. We're just putting it in place. There's lots of other ways that we can raise revenue. This isn't a grand slam. Future agendas, Karen, surprisingly, brunch is going to be on there because Matt and I went back and forward.
Agenda,
yes.
please.
But I'm always looking to raise revenue here in Reading, whether it's $1,000 a year or, you know, $300,000 for the fire department.
Okay. So are we gonna, so I would ask if this passes, and I don't think I'm gonna support it, but, or I should say, I don't even know if we need to vote just to have to go get more information. That doesn't usually require a vote. Implementing it may require a vote, but I would love to see some real calculations, because these are two municipal spots. We are not in the business of selling municipal spots, and this board has made decisions on that before. We were asked to give up spots behind CVS, and it is very important to the residents that we keep municipal spots for municipal use. So that would just be my feedback. And I love everything that generates revenue for the town, but I'm not talking about a $50 permit. We're talking about serious revenue, but based on reasonable calculations of throughput and 52 weeks a year and, you know, however many seatings you have and things.
Any other comment?
Public comment? Maddie, any public comment online?
Nobody online.
Great, thank you. Let's move to our motion, please.
Move that the board instruct the town manager to explore Friday, Saturday only valet parking license agreements.
Second.
Seconded by Chris. All those in favor? All those opposed? 5-0.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We are moving on
Thanks,
to.
Kevin.
Thank you, guys.
Jason.
Thank you. Select board liaison reports. Karen, do you want to start? Because I feel like you're going to have a really long one.
I'm going to try and make it fast because you only allotted 5 minutes for everyone. So I don't want to hog all the time.
1 minute each.
Oh my God. Okay. And I go back to September. So we had Affordable Housing Trust. I'm going to try and really narrow it down. Affordable Housing Trust meetings. I've had 2. First one's still getting in the groove and how to move forward. The second one, we had a presentation by the CPA committee members and discussion regarding how the CPA would benefit the town. Discussed the idea of an action plan, housing production plan. On 9/15, I met with the Board of Assessors, very quick meeting, as they always are, discussed status of pending appellate tax board cases, and he'll be presenting here today. 9:15, attended an MBTA turnaround meeting at the library. 9:24, ad hoc commemoration meeting where they discussed debrief of the Fall Street Fair, pros and cons, setup, etc. Discussed other events in Reading to spread the word, such as a Connected Reading to be held at the library. They discussed award criteria and eligibility. Update from Albert regarding Office of Equity and Social Justice. They're kind of in a restructuring mode. They're going to start planning for MLK Day. And they discussed timing for reaching out to Bill Russell's family, which should be happening in the near future. I had office hours on September 27th. 10/6 Town Forest Committee reviewed progress of invasive plant removal. Discussed the new signs, which look great. They are making a presentation to town meeting next month. Discussed upcoming events. They had a town forest identification walk, which was awesome. I went on that. It was great. They had on the 18th a community buckthorn pulling event, which event was very well attended. They removed a lot of buckthorn from an entire section. Last weekend, they had 2 bird walks with Dave Williams that were very successful. They will be at the community event at the library on the 28th. And on 11/1, there will be a barefoot hike through the town forest if anyone's interested.
Oh, jeez.
Hopefully it will be warmer. 10/8, we attended the Finance Committee meeting. Yesterday, I attended the Housing Authority meeting. Representatives from the MBTA track turnaround local committee made a presentation to the group and how it would impact the Tenneville residents. And Council on Aging, we met last night. A presentation from Jenna, John, Sasso, Emily Sisson, and Chris Kowaleski regarding operation plans for ReCal that they're finalizing and moving on. That was a long debate. Food Pantry recently purchased a commercial refrigerator, freezer, and a range with a generous grant from the Greater Boston Food Bank. Soon they'll be able to make healthy and nutritious home-cooked food for neighbors to choose when they visit the pantry, so they can turn all the boxes of donated zucchini into zucchini bread. stuff like that. Please consider visiting the food pantry's Amazon wish list, which lists much needed items. You can find the connection to that on their Facebook page or their website. And you can sign up to receive their newsletter, which contains all their up-to-date needs and highlights of the wonderful volunteers. Send an email to readingfoodpantry@gmail.com to sign up. Current needs are laundry detergent, canned potatoes, instant coffee, and canned pasta. There we go. I'm
Very
done.
good.
Great, thank you so much. Karen, would you like to go now?
Sure. Mine go back to September too, but like, this is ridiculous. Importantly though, I had 2 select board office hours at late August and early September at the Pleasant Street Center, and I will be repeating that on November 10th from 12:15 to 1:15. And I appreciated the number of residents who came last time. It was wonderful, and I had a challenge to wrap it up before I started encroaching on Senator Lewis's time. So that was good. So November 10th, I'll be back at the Pleasant Street Center, 12:15 to 1:15. And if anyone would like to also speak with Senator Jason Lewis, he'll be in at 1:30. So that was terrific. Attended the Senior Center Ice Cream Social recently, which was lovely. And the recent CPDC meeting where the parking for the recal was discussed. I met with our designee, Mark Doxer, and took him over to the Wilmington recal facility, which is just amazing. He hadn't seen it, and I'm glad he went, and I think he was energized. So I have attended a permanent building committee where they met with Joel. I forget what Joel is. Joel's the designer. And so things are moving along on that project as well. So that's good. And most recently, we spent a lot of time with the Finance Committee Forum, and we had an exhaustive conversation of, all of the different ways that we need to think about the town finances and planning for an operational override. And I understand the town manager, and I don't know who else, but the town manager and the Finance Committee Chair have started some initial discussions because that's going to be a toughie, and but there are lots of things we can do before then, and we talked about making sure that we get all of the geothermal tax credits that we could get from the federal government and the process that's required to do that. Let's see if there's anything else. Busy time. I continue to meet with the MMA Fiscal Policy Committee. I mentioned one of those meetings last night. I'm also still a director of the Women Elected Municipal Officials, and we have a mentoring session tomorrow that I won't be mentoring this time, but I will dial in and see what's going on with our other peer communities. So that's it. I know it's more than a minute. I'm sorry. Thank you. Chris?
Thanks, Melissa. So the Killam School Building Committee has met multiple times. I've lost track of where we are standing on that. I know we saved $500,000 by changing the generator out because recal passed, so we don't need the shelter scenario, which means we need less of a generator, which means now we're saving $500,000 on Killam, which was fantastic. And then at the last meeting for the Killam School Building, we ended up having the scenario with the early package, whether or not we wanted to spend, I think it was $130,000 for an early package, which includes something with tree removal and naming and what kind of species we have. And I know Matt is dealing with that portion because it was like $7 or $8 grand for some trees that are coming down anyway. So that got brought up with the potential for the early package. And then at the school committee, they just received a generous donation from Claudia Mixon Benares, I think is how you say her name. She donated the first installment for $200,000 for redoing the athletic center and the fitness room that's over there for a grand total of $550,000 when it's all said and done. And they hope to have it completely renovated by the end of the year. So Reading Memorial High School will end up having one of the most state-of-the-art athletics centers for high schools anyway in the whole state. So thank you to Claudia for her generous donation, and we really appreciate it. Thanks.
All righty. Okay, I have in my notes that I gave a CPA liaison report, so that was in October. So anyway, I watched a few hours of like a 4-hour CPDC meeting, and the main part I watched was the Primrose School that was very heated, and a lot of residents went to, and the board, passed that because of the Dover Amendment. Unfortunately for the residents, they didn't like that, but that's going forward. And then I was excited that Albert reached out to me to plan an Italian American Heritage Month celebration next year. So I look forward to that for next year. I'm very excited that I am attending the Hal Croft movie that is coming out. I was looking to get a couple tickets to the Boston showing. I think there's only 2 showings, 2 viewings coming up real soon. I'm going to one in November. And that's it for liaison, and I have a few future agenda topics. A lot going on. Obviously, we have the that track meeting. That's not a liaison report, but a lot going on there.
No, just clarifying. So who reached out to you with the Italian? You said Albert. So Albert.
Albert, DEI director. Sorry. Thanks.
I have a bunch of stuff as well, because we have not done liaison reports in a while. We've had numerous lengthy RCTV negotiation meetings, Jane, Matt, and I, with RCTV, and I think we are in a very good spot. So I'm confident that that will hopefully come to our board shortly. There were 3 conservation meetings. I did not attend all of them in person. Some of them I did listen back to for various reasons, but Recal did get approved by conservation, which was some time ago. We know Matera Cabin is still down, and hopefully we'll get that opened quickly. Conservation was supposed to hear from the MBTA on their turn back track tomorrow, but that got moved to their November meeting. At the last meeting, though, Conservation did ask the MBTA to come back with some information, because there was concerns about the pan they were going to use for any oil and overflow, concerns about noise, vibration, wildlife habitat, and pollution impacts. The commission requested additional documents, stormwater checklist, MSDS for absorbent maps, wetland data sheets, alternative analysis, and a delineation peer review. But MBTA pushed that meeting till November. The CPA committee went in front of conservation, and that vote failed, actually, 3-2. There have been several Board of Health meetings where they've discussed MBTA as well. They have also asked for raw data from the MBTA. They're asking them to hire an independent the Board of Health is going to hire an independent consultant to review the MBTA data, I'm sorry. And they're working along with conservation on those items. What else do we have? School committee, at one of their meetings, their food services received a national recognition on a program that they do over the summer, I believe. MCAS data showed strong growth and achievement, but there are gaps persistent amongst subgroups and specific schools that they are going to address. Touching on the donation, very generous donation that was made to the high school. In total, it will be $550,000. One of the things that is incredible is that it's going to be the fitness center and the athletic training room, but the fitness center is open to all students, not just athletes, which is great. And in the training room, they're going to be adding equipment that will, for medical and rehab equipment too, which would be great. CPDC approved Recal and pickleball. and Primrose School. And then I did listen in on the Financial Forum and FinCom, and like Karen mentioned, you know, it looks like we are gonna be in the beginning discussions of an override. But hopefully we can hold off a little bit with that and, you know, do some stuff here in town to prevent that from happening. I would also like to do office hours for myself. I was gonna offer to do them if this room is available for the 6 p.m. slot before our next meeting. I figured I'd just come in an hour early, and if anyone would like to come in and chat, I'll be here.
Can check, it should be though.
Okay. Thank you. Karen.
Sorry, I forgot one item. So on September 9th, I attended the MBTA Turn Back Track of Letters meeting. We were notified about it. It started before our meeting, but did run long, and so I was detained coming to our meeting that night, and that is in the minutes, but it needs to be recognized that I was acting as a select board member and listening to the public and not weaponized. So that's all. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to future agenda items.
Public comment?
Oh, no, not on liaison reports. We're gonna move on to our next agenda item is future agenda items, I apologize. Does anyone have any items? Yes, Carla?
Not really need to be agenda items, but I guess like an update on pickleball. Oh, sorry. An update on pickleball, where that stands in the process. And earlier, someone mentioned, I forget who, MWRA, get an update on that. That'd be good to know where that stands.
Yep.
And that's all I have for now. Those aren't meant to be agenda items, just kind of updates for the board. Thanks.
Anyone else have any future agenda items they'd like to add? Chris, sorry.
Thanks, Melissa. So what I touched on earlier, Matt, what got brought up prior meeting was the whole scenario with the not happy hour, brunch scenario on Sundays. So Matt ended up following up and found that it's actually in select board policies, which we already went over that ad nauseum. So that's one agenda item that we'll be looking forward in the future. So I thought it was going to be a bylaw. It's not. So we may be able to change that or not. I found some other, I think senator in Massachusetts is proposing the thing statewide. So it kind of, you know, goes that it's just not one crazy person's opinion coming up with this. It actually has legs elsewhere. So that's one item to add. And I know there was another one, but I can always add it later.
Karen.
Yeah, so great. I'm really excited the Disabilities Commission will go before town meeting. I anticipate there'll be excellent support there. And then, I'd love to have a placeholder to, and we don't have to wait. Does it have to go to the state for 90 days and we have to wait like months for them to review it?
There'll be, well, it's not a bylaw, so it doesn't have to be reviewed by the Attorney General. I'll have to check with the law, right? It won't be that much of a delay, I don't think, though, so.
Well, what I wanted to do was have a discussion or clarity on whether we are going to appoint members to that board or whether it's going to go through VASC and just get that scheduled. Thank you.
I have a couple of, you want
I remembered, it's the retreat scenario that got brought up. So the doodle poll thing went out. I believe 4 of us have already submitted dates. So if we could all get that put together, it's as early as potentially this Saturday. So we should definitely look to be setting that. And to Melissa's point, we can add on policies or whatever else to be discussed then as well. But we have to get that buttoned up, hopefully by the end of the week.
do we have a date when RECAL will be presenting to the select board? I know they have presented to other boards and committees, but I'd love for them to come to us. I think they've gone to rec, I think they've gone to Council on Aging.
No, we don't have a particular date. They asked at the last meeting if we would like to have them come before.
Yes,
so
I
we
would
haven't picked a particular date.
Yeah, I would
so
definitely like that.
It's just a project update.
Yeah.
Happy to set
I
that
kind of
up.
listened in on the rec one, but I would definitely like for them to come to us.
Sure. Yeah, we can set that up. Who do you want to present? Because we pay them to come.
Oh, wait, no, we can just do the Jenner and John Sasso. Oh, we can Jenner.
Do you want the operations plan for recount?
Oh, yeah,
That's what they're working on.
Yes, that's what I would like to hear, is the operation plan, because there seems to be some confusion and different thoughts floating around, so I would love for them to come to us.
So they were at Council of Aging last night.
Yeah.
And operations, they're not completely done with it. They're done, let's say half, and then they're still working on the half, and some of them they have to dig really deep depending on if it's elder services or whatever. And then after that, they're gonna do the planning, you know, where they're gonna talk about, I had better words
Programming.
last night, programming, excuse me, but not like a schedule of what's gonna happen, but trying to figure out what parts of the building will be, you can phrase it better than I, but it's still in the works. They're not really close.
Yeah, no, it's an iterative process. So it's, these portions are being brought forward first. They're being brought to Council on Aging and to the Recreation Committees for review. One at a time, John Sasso and Emily Sisson are helping staff with that effort. But it's not done, right? So this is multiple pieces and we're getting great feedback, and it's, you know, asking those boards to review it, give us feedback, and so it's kind of, that's what we're doing.
Maybe we can give a little feedback then as well. I know there was a vote done, it's non-binding, vote with Council of Aging of how they would like to see things, and
yes,
I think we just need to remember how we advertise this project to the town to get it voted in.
Staff is well aware.
But I think that it would be nice for us to give our opinion on that too.
Sure.
Do you think maybe by December scenario, like at least for
For the operations plan to be done?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it will be done by December. No, if you want them to wait until they come back, I think what I'm hearing is, what would be useful is sort of an update. Here's where we are, this is the process we're undertaking, here's some of the feedback we've gotten. Board can share their concerns that you've had.
Yeah.
And it's just very clear that this is a community building, and that scheduling of that building is at the purview of the manager.
Yeah.
Kind of, is it?
Kind of, yeah. And so it's just, it can be quick, doesn't have to be anything detailed, and we definitely don't have to pay the consultant. That's
Right, if you're looking for like the operations, but that's staff,
Yeah.
and we can, so I will ask the operations team to meet regularly, to find a particular select board night in the next couple of months, before the new year, I'm guessing you'd like to have, maybe not during the budget season.
Yeah, I think that's fair, just to get some info.
Easy, happy to.
Can I just?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Where are we, I don't remember where we left off on a committee for like, water and sewer rates review. Where did we?
They told me that I should start that. I mean, as a group, I believe I'm supposed to be looking into getting ball rolling and then presenting it to you or
Okay,
something.
I would love that, because I would love to add, I think that committee would be the perfect spot to add, some communities around us offer a rebate or discounted water sewer rate or something for seniors. And I think that's something that I would like to look into for our senior population, and see how that works. I did a little bit of research, but it looks like it's kind of all over the place depending on the community, so I think that could fall perfect into that bucket. The other thing that was brought up by a resident, which I think is a good idea, and maybe at some point in the new year we can get on our agenda to talk about, is a composting spot for the community. So individuals don't have to do it. If we could get that on our, I guess several communities around us do it, and I think.
Sorry,
please.
You mean the composting bins for community use? Really great idea for folks that live in apartments, in condos, and don't have their own space for a bin right outside.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm meeting with compost people next week.
Perfect.
What's the group?
Writing Compost. I met with
Writing
them
Compost
last
yeah.
week. They're one of my favorite groups.
Right. So I'm meeting with them next week.
Perfect. I think the end of the year is going to be tricky for us to get it on our agenda, but I think early in the new year would be great.
Yeah.
And have a conversation about that, how we could do it, where it would work.
Fine.
One more thing, but I'm blanking, and I didn't write it down.
All right, I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
All All right, more on the update as far as the agenda, how are we doing on the parking amendment? Are we gonna see it, or are you guys gonna do it for the pickleball?
Oh, it'll be on a future agenda. You have to vote on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not next meeting, coming soon?
Hopefully, yeah. Yep.
Oh, hopefully.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And just so, because I don't know what this acronym means, REPC proclamation, what does that stand for?
Yeah, that has to do with the fire department. The chief will be here. It's regarding our emergency management regional team that we're on. We're on that, and it was done before, but it has to be renewed. So I think at the next meeting, Chief Nelson will be here to talk about that. Sorry we didn't spell that out.
Oh, okay, thanks.
I remembered one other thing, CPAC Awareness Month. So I sent you that, Matt, that Sean and the school committee approved.
Oh, right.
For November.
Yep.
So the November 4th meeting for that.
Yep, that's right. I have that. I sent that to Maddie here. Okay.
Okay. If we'll move on to discuss and vote meeting minutes. The first set of minutes is September 9th. I was there. Were there any changes or edits sent into you? Oh, it looks like there were.
Yeah, so I received a couple of suggested edits on all the sets of minutes, so they're redlined for you to look at.
Great, okay, so.
Okay.
This meeting,
So mine is the top, and I'm assuming that Karen is the bottom.
Of course, I don't have my glasses.
Sorry, do you need me to make it bigger?
A little bit if you can, not much, I guess, the screen is, that helps.
So my edit at the top is a direct quote from what I said to Matt. The bottom, which I'm assuming is Karen edits, is not, and actually misconstrues the words as well. So you can pick.
Oh, yeah, let's do the top part. Yeah. So is that mine, Maddie?
No, I believe the top one is Chris Haley's, and that bottom red line one is Karen Herrick.
Okay.
And then Karen Rose Gillis, yours is down here.
Oh, did I have it in the wrong place? I don't think we need it 3 times.
I don't think it's going in 3 times. I think it's just one spot.
Yeah, I just wanted to put everybody's edits.
Yeah, no, that's fair, Maddie.
That's fine. I defer to the 2 members that were here.
And I defer to Chris because it's a quote.
So my quote is, like I said, that is verbatim with what Matt said. And I never said for you to leave the meeting. So I'm not sure why you put that in there.
You know what? Enough.
We're not gonna speak out of turn. All right, if we agree to that one edit, is that it on this one, Maddie?
Just checking the bottom. No, I think this is the last one.
Okay.
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 Do we wanna do a motion for this one or go through them all and then do a motion for them all?
It's probably for this one.
All right, let's do a motion for the September 9th meeting minutes.
Move to approve the meeting minutes of September 9th, 2025 as amended.
Second.
Seconded by Karen. Any further discussion? All those in favor? 5-0.
Okay, next
Let's
one.
move on to the September 16th minutes. I was not at this meeting. I have no input.
are we playing Mad Libs on this one? It was probably me, I assume.
I just copied and pasted what was sent.
It's me.
Carlo mentioned Friday, Saturday. Yeah.
Who made that edit?
Where?
Maddie? That,
That one was Karen Herrick, I believe.
oh, okay. I just don't know why it said member name. Okay, thanks.
I think there's a couple more.
Can I just ask again who these edits are from, just so we're clear?
That top one is from Karen Herrick, and the bottom one,
It's me.
Thank you.
yeah, sorry, there was a lot.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm just trying to keep it.
So I guess if I could, so where it says Chair Chris Haley did not act to stop Select Board Mbachi in any way from this policy, if I could add in there, after seeing both Karen Herrick and Karen Rose Gillis laughing, I did not feel it was appropriate.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that, because that's why I didn't do
We're
it.
not looking to implement,
Oh.
we don't care what was going on in your head, really.
Well, that,
I mean, we're
then how do you
stating
know
fact.
that I did not
We're
act?
stating fact.
I'm stating a fact too.
I think that actually I wasn't at the meeting, but I did watch it. I think that the second line, Chair Chris Haley did not act as stop select board member is also opinion. So I think that we should take that out.
So
if we're
what
not gonna
action
add.
did he take?
He didn't, but it's
He
also
didn't take
an
any
opinion.
action, so he just said it so it can stay. It's a statement of
According
fact.
to you.
It's a statement of fact that is also
No, I get
an
it. Like
opinion.
if Chris never gets to be held accountable for anything. I get it. It's fine.
Not accurate at all.
That is super accurate. He didn't
Carla.
run the
yeah, thank
meeting.
you. Okay, so I was hoping this would come up because I like that it wasn't in there, any of it, because if we're gonna include this, which I don't agree with, we have to include Angela Bender lying about me twice, which we don't need to do, but if you guys are gonna put this in there,
Point of order.
we need
Point
context.
of order.
We're doing minutes.
Excuse me, we are not taking public comment now. Thank you.
This is not a
Nope,
public
Angela,
comment. You
Angela,
are calling me a liar.
Angela, you are out of line and I'm going to ask you to please stop. Thank you. Go ahead, Carla.
Thanks. So but there's no context here, obviously. And if we're going to include this, which I don't want to, but I did say a profanity. Terrible person is not correct. It's horrible person, if you want to be accurate. And there's no context. So if we're going to include this, we have to go back to her public comments that are twice that she lied. And that's why I said this. So that's the context. Because I wouldn't have said it if she lied in public and I said nothing.
Stop
If she lied on
calling
Zoom.
me a liar.
Angela, I will mute you on Zoom. Please, you're out of order.
So we can, talk about this all night, what we want to include and not include. I'm okay with including this, but we need context. I just don't blurt out that for no reason. Obviously, 4 of us were here.
May I suggest Select Board Member Barchi was upset with a public comment and responded with? That's context.
No.
Yeah, it is context. You don't get to have an argument in the minutes. It's a summary statement.
I disagree.
I know you do. It's figures.
Karen.
So
Melissa.
I believe we have to have it in the minutes because.
I wasn't speaking to you. I was actually calling
My
you Karen.
apologies. My apologies.
We have to have it in the minutes because there's been public emails about it, so it needs to be documented somehow. My sentence, I think I don't think it's necessary to put the swear words in there. I think it needs to be reflected somehow, and I thought my sentence was very toned down to be respectful of all parties. I don't think we need to use it, this one's lying, because none of us can prove that. So it's not that it's opinion, but we don't need to bring that into the minutes. So you want to have a nice paper trail so that when people are looking at comments online or letters to the editor, you want to have something in there to give some context that something took place. So I don't feel we have to get into the nitty-gritty of quoting. I think we need to give some kind of statement just so that it matches what's been out in the public and the responses that we've gotten to the event. And anyway.
Can I ask what your sentence was? What your addition was up there? I'm sorry.
Mine is the second paragraph.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So again, I am okay with, saying I use a profanity, because that's what it was. We don't have to say the word, that's fine, but we need to give context. Public comment, I said nothing about the same lie that's been told about me many, many times, and I stayed quiet because I know it's not true, so I'm okay with it. But the second one, I don't know where the resident got that from, because I was commenting on the post that was dissolved, and the resident mentioned Alan Folds, and I had no idea what they were talking about, and was trying to put me in my place for not being up to date. So I lost my cool, yes. So if we just leave that in there, then that makes it very one-sided, and I'm not going to agree to it, because I have taken a lot on this board from this particular resident, and it's not good for the entire board and the health of this board. So I apologize for losing my cool, and that's it. If there's no context, strike the whole thing. But we'll be here all night and we're not going to agree, or we can vote on them. But I'm okay with profanity. Take the BS out, that's fine. I get it. If you want to leave terrible person in there, that's fine. Let's make it a horrible person. That's what I said. And we have to give context. That's all I'm asking. If we're going to be fair and allow that, there has to be context. Someone just reads that, what does that even mean? Even Karen's, Karen Rose Gilt's comment doesn't really discuss or explain what the person said about me. So again, I don't want to be here all night, and we've fought over minutes before, and I usually stay quiet on most minutes and don't make any edits. And when I saw the minutes that nothing was included, the comments about me and my response, I'm like, okay, maybe we'll leave it alone. But now here we are, because people decided to come at me again, and for things I said, rightfully so, but there has to be context, and that's fine too. We have the context, I'm okay with that. What's up there?
What are you looking for to add for context? Maybe that will be helpful for us to discuss what you're looking for to add.
Well, the context is from public comment, and then...
Are you going to generalize something, or do you have something to add there? Then we can probably discuss what is added.
I haven't really thought about it, because I didn't know anybody was going to edit this, because we don't get previews to the edits, so I didn't have anything prepared.
So I'm going to recommend that we table these minutes, everyone review them, and we'll bring them back to the next meeting to vote and discuss. Is that fair? Does everyone agree to that?
Not really, no.
Well, so this set only, or what did you mean?
Yeah, no, this set only.
I think I can somewhat wing the top thing, maybe that weaves a compromise between everybody, but.
We can attempt it.
Yeah,
I just don't want to be here.
I wouldn't mind hearing a suggestion, and then maybe we move on.
I wasn't at the meeting, so I don't really.
Because, once again, I demonstrably disagree, because you can't put what's in my head up here without putting what actually took place. And it's Rob, give him credit, zoomed right in on YouTube, like immediately without delay. And it just, so my edits to this would be, select board member Bocci called the resident a horrible person and used profanity after being once again accused of an ethics violation.
I don't think you need to put once again.
But it's goes to context. It was it's been mentioned multiple times.
Can I just make one suggestion? Can we just add his edits and then discuss?
Oh, yeah,
Would that be okay? No, I'm just for Maddie's sake, because she's going to be typing and deleting every second. So let's let Chris put some his edits up there, and then we'll discuss.
Yes.
Because there's a remedy for an ethics violation. Somehow it isn't being utilized, or it has, and we don't know about it. So, once again, an accused of an ethics violation. I think that's fair. We can put that it's unfounded. That's opinion and everything else. But I think this kind of weaves it. But like I said, my opinion thing, absolutely not. Is the reason why I didn't step in and stop it, because first of all, I was caught off guard that it was happening in the first place, out of the blue. And then second, I saw the reaction. So there's no reason to say that I didn't stop it. I think the whole sentence should be struck.
I'm okay with Chris's edit.
Any feedback?
I'll compromise.
Okay. Karen, any feedback?
What's the compromise?
Well, Chris just added.
What Chris added and he's.
No, I don't have a problem with what he added. I say that.
He added after being once again accused of an ethics violation.
For Christ's sakes.
I feel like.
If you were paying attention,
That is classic Chris Haley. That's classic
you weren't
Chris
even
Haley.
paying
And
attention
we're
to the
gonna be
minutes,
a moment.
Karen. You're on your computer.
But as far as once again,
Doing select
it gives me the
business.
impression that it was once again in this meeting, not from a prior meeting. So did it come up in this meeting more than once? Like when you say once again, I look at it as, well, where did it happen in this meeting? As opposed to 2 meetings, 5 meetings a year ago. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the only reason why I'm saying that.
We can put continuously, if that's better.
It sounds like whining.
I just think it's added detail that's not necessarily necessary.
Well, it adds context
I understand.
without going into 7 sentences of what Carla wanted to put in. Like, that's kind of why I just went this route. That's And I mean, that's a gray area where he actually could be guilty of an ethics violation. Like, it's open to interpretation. So it's not in his best interest to agree to this, yet he is doing that, in my opinion.
Actually, the really important question is, do you understand that when things get heated, it is the job of the chair to get the meeting back on track?
I agree. And when I see individuals laughing, I think that everything is going
Well, that's a good excuse.
right along.
There's always one.
It is.
I'm not for laughing.
I don't
But
know for
But
laughing.
anyway, in
We're
this
gonna
instance,
stay on the
I think
having
the
food
edits,
thrown at me.
I
Should
think
we
that
put
we
that
can
in
talk
there?
about that at our
Agreed.
function.
Agreed. Totally agree.
That
Karen.
is
Totally agree.
fantastic advice.
So in this instance, in the essence of moving us on, let's just take it.
So then are we on the next part, or we're striking the whole thing? Oh, because you,
Because that was,
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
part, yeah, so
All
we can
right.
strike that as well. And then I thought I saw other changes. Am I wrong?
Yep, there's one more at the bottom.
Got it.
Yeah, 2 paragraphs to 1 sentence, pretty good.
less words is less expensive.
so I added only and then that sentence. Because there was,
Was that side of the meeting?
yes, that is an exact
Okay,
quote.
that's just arguing in the meeting minutes. Take
It's
it
not,
out of
that's an
there.
exact
It is
quote.
inappropriate.
It-
Take it out of there.
Do you think I'm a king,
I don't
Karen?
think you're gonna take it out of there.
Do you
You
think
guys
I'm a
do what
king?
you want. I don't think you know what you're doing.
Do you think I'm a
I
king?
think you're
though?
making a mockery of this whole board, and it's
Okay, well,
really annoying, and it's a waste of government resources, and that is
okay.
against the law.
Karen, it's something you said in the meeting, just like it was something Carlos said in the meeting.
We
How
shouldn't
can
be,
we
we shouldn't be
argue?
quoting, we should be
Oh, so let's take out
summarizing.
mine then.
Then we've got to go back and take out all the other
What are you
things.
talking about? Such a hypocrite, it's
Fair.
unbelievable.
In my opinion, everything that's said in a meeting should be in the minutes. I said do AI. Everything goes in. Call it a day.
AI isn't very good.
Okay, but my opinion is always it should be in there. You can't
Well,
have things in
before you
for
joined
some
the
people.
board, we had
Heather.
these meeting minutes would be much quicker to get through if they were summary.
But
And
you
so
are
every time you
asking for
start putting in-
specific things on other people, but not when it's you saying
And they
it.
all got crossed out, didn't they?
No, they didn't.
No, they did.
They did not.
Okay.
The first set did
You
not.
guys do what you want. Do what you want. Put it in there. Go
All right.
ahead. Go do what you
Do we
want.
have any
This
discussion
isn't a
on this?
board, this is a kingdom, so enjoy.
So I am a king, Karen.
Oh,
Is that
no,
what you want?
we're gonna move on. Does Karen, Chris, or Carla, do you have anything else on this sentence?
No.
Okay. Do we have a motion for these minutes?
Are they done?
Sorry, are we, so we're striking that sentence or?
No, the key wants it in there.
Okay,
Leave it in
thank you
there.
for admitting it, Karen.
Stop.
Thank you.
1 minute.
I don't even know what minutes we're on right now.
September
know.
9th.
Are we on
September
the
16th.
Exactly. This is
Yeah.
leadership at its finest.
Move to approve the meeting minutes of September 16th, 2025 as amended.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Really briefly, I once again would like to thank town staff for putting together the minutes how they have, without any favor or influence or redirection at all. They do the minutes and then we edit them after the fact. And I think they've been doing a spectacular job. Things have evolved over the years, I agree. But I think they've evolved into something that is better overall for the minutes compared to what they used to be. So, and that goes for 4 years worth of minutes, not just tonight.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the September 16th minutes?
As amended?
As amended, I apologize. All those opposed, I apologize. 4-1. October 7th minutes.
So I had an addition, but I didn't email them to you.
Fine, I think
I'm sorry, but maybe somebody else did. I don't know.
I had no changes.
Were there any other changes?
We can take that out.
Yes.
I couldn't read it.
Say Karen Herrick arrived 10 seconds after the bell stopped tolling because I was coming in the building. And
didn't have
somebody
that.
noted that I was 3 minutes late. And I'm like, really?
That's town staff has always done that for every single person.
So can I add something?
Yes, you can.
So on, towards the top, above when Karen Gately Herrick arrived at 7:03, as Nancy Doctor said today, I think it's important that we insert Carlo's apology because it was a public apology and we received comments on it. And I want to make sure that everybody is aware that, you know, it was a gracious thing to do as much as it was asked for. And I think it should be in there.
Thanks, Karen.
You're welcome.
I agree.
So I guess you want the language? Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Carla Bocci made public apology for previous meeting verbal behavior. Which, you know, feel free to edit it because it's, I'm tired.
I guess, I don't know.
Apologize for throwing food.
Karen, can we please?
Hey, Mom.
Sorry, Karen Rose Gillis, could you just repeat that last part of that?
Well, I'm sure we can make it fancier, but Carla
Yeah.
Bocci made public apology for previous
For
meeting.
disparaging comments at the previous meeting.
Thank you.
There we go. And profanity.
I think disparaging is good.
Disparaging is what I had in the last one, so
Right.
we'll put it here.
Didn't have any input. I got it.
And then we're striking the arrive 10 seconds scenario.
I don't know where that came from.
I didn't add that. It wasn't me. Did somebody add that or no? Somehow.
Not paying attention? I said I added it. We're
I
not paying
went-
attention?
I don't know when
Karen,
you.
I didn't hear you say it either.
Okay. You know what? You don't need to butt in all the time. We're having a conversation. You're not the mom.
Actually, I'm the chair and I am running tonight's meeting.
Okay.
So
well,
let's
then
be
do it.
respectful.
Apply the rule consistently.
Okay, let's be respectful and not.
We'll be, and that applies to the chair as well. That's why point of order is for when the chair is not being respectful.
Okay. Are there any other edits to the set?
So that's getting struck, Maddie, right?
Okay.
Yes. But I have no edits at all, so.
I think there's just one more to add month-long in this sentence of issuing proclamations.
That is fine by me.
Any other edits, Patty?
I don't think so. No, just those.
Great, thank you. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve the meeting minutes of October 7th, 2025 as amended.
Second.
Seconded by Chris Haley. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Great. And now we have a motion to go into executive session, I believe.
Move to enter into the executive session under Purpose 2 and Purpose 3 to conduct a strategy session with respect to collective bargaining and collective bargaining with a facilities union. As an open meeting will have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the select board as declared by the chair, to invite town manager Matt Cornelis, assistant town manager
you,
Jane
Taylor.
Wellman, human resources director Sean Donahue, facilities director Joe Huggins, and executive assistant Maddie Baptiste into the executive session and to adjourn from executive section and not return to open session.
Second.
Seconded by Chris Haley. Any discussion?
No.
Oh, thank you. Roll call vote. Carlos?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Karen Rose Gillis?
Yes.
Melissa, yes.